The Opinionated Idiot.
Good Tuesday evening. Welcome back to another edition of the Opinionated Idiot YouTube live show. I am your host, Brian. I hope everybody is doing well. It is April 18, 2023. I want to welcome everybody into the chat. I will get into why I am here this evening before the show starts. I am not lying. I am here on my regular Tuesday, but I will let you know what happened. I'm going to say I'm probably a little bit aggravated. I'm a little bit aggravated, as you can tell by my body language. But I will make sure that I will not go down that road again. That's it. Fool me once, fool me twice, but you will not fool me a third. I'm too good for that. All right, so let's go to the chat. Let's pull the chat. I'm sure everybody will fill in here tonight. Have an well, I wouldn't say action-packed show. I don't know. I think that's just like terminology. That's just streaming terminology. But tonight's show, we are going to get into part 3 of the Looking Back Idaho 4 Bryan Kohberger series that we have been doing here. And tonight we're going to look and just kind of hyper-focus, I think, on the Gonsalves family, because as we know, as the case has gone on before the gag order was in place, and, since Bryan Kohberger was picked up as the alleged suspect in these homicides, the Gonsalves family was very outspoken, and Steve Gonsalves himself. So I have a lot of media footage, a lot of interviews with them, and I want to go back. And what I tried to do was kind of timeline and line up all of the footage as things went on through the investigation, so you can actually get a tone for, what that family went through. I think it'll be really good to go back and look at that. And again, maybe there's something in there we hear or see that makes sense now, or something that we missed. So let's do this. I'm going to pull up the first video that I have. So the first video that I'm going to play goes back 5 months ago, and this is from the Latah, like Utah, Latah County coroner says all four students killed near the university were victims. And I want to play this little bit of this interview, and we'll pick up from there, and then we'll just continue with the theme of the Gonsalves family this evening. Let's play this.
MABB.
Plug in my earphones. And like I said, let's listen and see if we hear anything that sounds strange, or we see anything, something like that.
UTT.
And I'm going to ask you, how long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing it for 16 years, and I just got reelected for another 4.
So what is it that, or I guess, when did you get the call?
Thanks, DM. I appreciate you.
I got the call just a few minutes after noon that there were 4 homicides, but I didn't go to the scene because of law enforcement doing their investigation first. So I didn't actually go to the scene until about 5 or 5:30.
Can you walk us through, like, for our viewers, kind of the process between when police show up and then you guys getting the bodies and doing your examinations?
Sure. Well, law enforcement goes through and looks for any evidence, takes videos and pictures of everything in there, and they'll start talking with people. So I don't really need to be there for that. They can't move the bodies. I mean, the bodies have to stay as they were until the coroner gets there. So those are really that's what my job is, to look at the bodies.
As a coroner, do you guys do the autopsies and all that?
No, we some do if they're an actual medical examiner, but we have forensic pathologists and we contract with Spokane to do that.
So in your experience, what is it that you saw when you showed up?
Well, there was a lot of blood. It's a very sad scene with 4 murdered college students.
You're rolling all 4 deaths, homicides?
Yes.
Okay. And can you give us the manner of death? Yeah.
I believe that the press release was that they were from a sharp object. So
stabbings.
Yeah, I will know more after the autopsies tomorrow.
And do you believe this could be like a murder suicide or?
No, they're 4 homicides.
4 homicides. Okay. And when it comes to doing the investigation post autopsy, that falls on you, correct?
Yes, it's my job to determine the manner and mechanism of death.
And then I know with toxicology results, there can often be, in Washington, a delay. So do you have any idea how long it could take if those were relevant to get any type of results back on that?
Well, the toxicology reports, right, they usually take 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes longer. But they might, I don't think they're going to be relevant in the actual manner or cause of death.
It's a little silly.
Do we know how?
I'm going to pause that really quick. She says that toxicology wouldn't be, relevant to cause of death. Yeah, I understand that, but I at least would like to see what everybody had in their system. I think that's important as well, too.
Long between the time of death and when police found them?
Okay, let's back this up because this is an important piece of information.
Or cause of death.
And do we know how long between the time of death and when police found them, approximately?
No, I don't know for sure.
Do we have any could it have been hours? Could it have been a day? Was it maybe close? Is there any sort of time frame there?
Not that I'm aware of.
First of all, I think the weird thing about this, and this is kind of interesting that Victorine says, it seems so casual as something weird that I just can't still figure out. First of all, why the fuck are you even doing this interview? And I've never even seen anything like this. This is just weird. I don't know if this is just a small media organization. Yeah, it's from Krem 2, which is their local station out there. So maybe this was B-roll type of footage that they were inserting into an actual news story itself. But this is just even strange that they would be out doing something like this.
And you said the scene was really difficult. I mean, is this something you've had to deal with before in Moscow?
Since I've been coroner, there have been at least 2 other multiple homicide scenes that I've been involved in. So.
Would you say this is probably the most gruesome?
Oh, it's hard to just single it out. It's the only one I've been to where there have been 4 people at one scene. There have been the other ones have had multiple scenes.
And was anybody else injured, any non-deceased people?
Not that I'm aware of, but I wouldn't necessarily be notified either.
Okay. I didn't know if that was because the injuries could be similar.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Were the deceased all in close proximity to each other, or were they in different rooms?
I don't know that I can discuss that.
That was my next question too. So I think
Will we be able to get a copy of your report once it's concluded? I'm sure it'll be.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just call.
Yes.
Thank you.
do you know what the time frame for that would be?
just depends on how relevant the toxicology
Oh.
report is. But
Okay.
So-
So it was like.
Yeah, this is like B-roll
it could be.
footage.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yeah,
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
sure.
Yeah, that's just like B-roll. They were just doing some B-roll there. All right, so let's pull up the first. The next interview I have is kind of would be really. It seems like one of the first, or maybe the first interview the Gonsalves family did. Let's pull this up. It's one of the first, if not, it's one of the first. Let me see. I just have to get the title of it. Father and siblings. Okay, let's see. So I can pull this up. Okay, let's play through this one here.
Me, it's not real yet.
Let's go back.
Me, it's not real yet. I'm a bit in denial. I'm hoping for justice. That's why I'm trying to switch myself into that mode to try to find some justice. That's where I'm at.
I get it. Steve, Olivia?
Yeah, I just know my sister, she was a hard worker, and just sitting in my bed and crying myself to sleep isn't gonna do her any justice. And that's not what she'd want me to do. She'd want me to stay active and doing what I can to spread her message and hope that we can find this suspect or suspects. And that's how I feel.
I get it. I get it. She's got a great smile. We keep showing that picture. I know your family's been frustrated with the investigation so far, understandably so. Here we are a week and a half out and really not much information about this. Does not appear to be a suspect. Tell me, Olivia, what specifically you've been frustrated with, because you did your own work here. For instance, you found video of the food truck, for example, where two of the victims were seen the same night as this killing.
Yeah, I would say, I think that obviously this is extremely personal for us, and we treated it that way from the very get-go. I know how valuable those first 48, 72 hours are. And I can only hope that the police also know how valuable that is, and that they have a lot of information there that just isn't public right now. I will say the one lingering frustration I have is the timeline. I know it's semantics, but my sisters got home at 1:56. It wasn't 1:45. I know it might not seem significant, but when we're looking for camera, when we're looking for dash footage, when we're looking for any of those things, I do feel it is valuable, and they did get home at 1:56. It was not 1:45.
Right. Well, there's one detail there. Kaylee's mother has said she believes that the suspect, the killer, is someone Kaylee knew very well, and that the killer might even be at the vigil. Remarkable. I wonder, Steve, do you share that view?
It's speculation.
So Kaylee's sister is saying that they returned home at 1:56. And what I want to do is I'm going to pull up. Hang on one second. I just want to see what's the easiest that I can look at. I'm not going to pull the PCA because that's going to take forever to go through. I want the King Road virtual tour. Let's look through here really quick. I'm going to just pause this for a second. Hang on. I just want to see what's on the document, the timeline. Hang on one second. Okay, so it's saying here on the King Road by Sleuthy, Goosey, she's updated the spreadsheet to say that at 1:56 a.m., a private party, Eric Growler, reported that he dropped off Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Mogan at their King Road residence. So she verifies it there. So she went back and verified that information.
My daughter was very popular. It seemed like everyone that I talked to said she knew everyone. They had parties. They were college kids. They were about to graduate.
Yeah.
So somebody could have partied in the house and got an idea or got the confidence to pull that off.
It's interesting that Steve said
Steve,
that.
this question of a stalker, and I'm very conscious with this story of how many rumors have been circulating, and a lot of those rumors turn out to not be true. But Stephen, this discussion of the possibility she may have had a stalker, have police been able to?
If you all can do me a favor, we've got 39 upvotes. There's 73 people watching. If you could all just take a moment, it's free to do it. If you could just go down there and hit the upvote button or smash that like button, is what we like to say in here. It helps push the stream out in the algorithm so we can get a bigger audience in here. I really would appreciate it. It's free to
Stand that
hit
up or not. They seem to be
Thank
knocking
you.
that down.
Yeah, it seems to be knocked down. Obviously, any of that information would be new to us as well. Kaylee FaceTimed me. She didn't call or text. She FaceTimed me for literally hours, almost every single day. And she was extremely cautious. She was very vigilant. I think that she really would have noticed something and she would have said it to us. She wasn't, scared to get us involved in her life in any capacity like that.
I know you're frustrated with how much and how information, developments in the investigation are being shared with the public. Are they sharing anything with you that they're not sharing publicly in light of the fact that this was your sister, this was your daughter?
I'm not getting anything. They're not sharing much with me. I know that there's a separation in duties there. They do have the FBI now, so I don't know how much the individuals that I'm talking with, which are the local, are actually exercising their different jurisdictions. I think they might not know a lot because, they have briefings, and if they haven't had a briefing, they probably don't know exactly what's going on.
Are they contacting you at all? Are they keeping you updated more than they are, say, on the website or with these press briefings?
To be honest, they're not. I mean, yesterday I asked about the stalker question and they couldn't confirm anything. And then today I hear that they're reaching out to the community saying that there's a stalker involved. So I don't know what to make of that.
It's
a lot of. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
Purposely, they're just so vague with everything that they say, and then they slowly peel it back layer until you find the real story. It all started with a sharp-edged weapon. What was the use in telling the community that a sharp-edged weapon was used instead of just coming out and telling?
I agree, Mama. And listen, I know that Steve got a lot of shit for a lot of weird reasons. I don't know why from the public. Listen, if my daughter was killed, brutally murdered, I would be out there advocating too. I would be very frustrated at law enforcement if they weren't updating me or giving me any type of information. And you can see it here. He's clearly frustrated at this point. They're only a week and a half out right now from when the murders first happened, and you can clearly see him. It's a lot of sleepless nights. And I don't know why he got a lot of shit, but hey, if it was my daughter, I'd be screaming too. Because he got shit because he was very critical of the Moscow Police Department.
Yes, that it was a knife from the beginning. I don't understand the purposeness of being so vague. You're not holding the integrity of the case together by not telling anybody anything.
I understand you have frustrations for how police and investigators have handled the crime scene. What are those frustrations specifically?
Well, they expanded it, and there was volunteers that walked around, and they disclosed that they were looking and found different things. So, they did share with me that may have more to do with keeping cameras out than it actually does with evidence gathering. So I hope that is indeed the case, because it would be pretty disheartening a week later to know that they didn't have the right crime scene.
One of the mother of one of the surviving roommates, so reminding our viewers, there were two roommates who were upstairs and survived this, told a reporter that those roommates heard something that night. Have you been told? Have you heard from sharing with other relatives of the other victims what that was exactly?
No, I would say for us that we did hear those rumors, but right now we can only leave it at that. None of that has ever been confirmed to us.
We have not spoke with the roommates.
Yeah.
The surviving roommates, and they were downstairs, just to clarify that for you, sir.
Okay, downstairs, right, on a different floor from where it appears where the murders took place. One consistent thing, and granted, there's been some changes as
You know, I got to give them a lot of guts too. Their sister, their daughter was brutally murdered a week and a half ago, and they're out here doing, media reports, and they look like they haven't slept. I mean, look at Steve and Steve Jr. and Kaylee's sister, and I'm sorry, her name slipped my mind right now, but I mean, they have bags and rings under their eyes. They haven't slept, and it's very difficult. I'm sure it's very difficult. I wouldn't want to go through that.
Note in how the police have described this. One consistent descriptor has been that the attack was targeted. Do you know if police believe one person in the house was the target of this attack, or all four?
I've been told it's one, but then again, there's the vagueness. Like, it's like purposely vague, I'm hoping, but it confuses everyone.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what that really means, other than maybe somebody had a different kind of attack footprint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I feel like we just want some more. We all want to play a part in helping, and we can't play a part if we don't have any real substantial information to work from.
Yeah, I get it. You want to help. I mean, Olivia, you found video that has been helpful in this investigation. I'm sure you do want to help. Has anyone indicated to you that if it was indeed one person targeted, was Kaylee the target? Has anybody shared that with you?
They won't confirm who that was to us.
The police, that is.
We've heard the rumors that that's the case, but it's just a rumor at this point.
Tons and tons of rumors, but nothing from the police.
And I'll say, I think a lot of those rumors do stem from all of the vagueness, and it's human nature to want answers. It's human nature to kind of put forth a theory so that you can even comprehend it in your brain. And so I think that's how we're getting all of some of these really, really off the wall theories, and some of these theories like Kaylee had a stalker, that even we're sitting here scratching our heads saying, no, it couldn't be. If it was, it would be news to us.
I am sure it is frustrating. Your family has been very outspoken in support of Jack. He's Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. And on the Moscow police website, he is not listed, notably, as someone who has been cleared in the investigation. To your knowledge, is that significant?
No, I don't personally think so, because I think that there's the entire rest of the world that's also not on that list of people who have been cleared, including Maddie's boyfriend, including any associates of Xana or Ethan that might not be involved. I don't find that significant at all.
And there were a number of phone calls to him that night, and you say that would have been typical behavior for Kaylee, that she often would call friends, folks, for a whole bunch of things.
At any time, multiple times, until I would pick up at 3 a.m. and be like, Kaylee, what?
Yeah.
That's some of the last footage of her at that food court. She's on her phone 24/7 filming the whole thing. So she lived on that phone. So
it sounds like you're saying that the delays here in sharing information, the delays in, well, frankly, making more progress on the investigation, mean the police have lost their best opportunity, right? I think, Olivia, you were saying that those early hours and days are key. That's when you can make real progress. Do you believe that they've missed their best chance here, or may have?
Not only is that's just not a matter of opinion, that's a matter of fact. If you look statistically at homicide cases, those first 10 days are so incredibly important.
First 48.
They determine almost 9 out of 10 times, I believe it was.
The first 48 are the most important in an investigation.
If you find a suspect. So that's not very encouraging to hear that they want to cast this wide net of suspects now. And people we know have no involvement.
Ramadan looks different.
All right, that's the end of that interview there. Let's keep rolling through. I'm going to keep them in order. I've tried to, as they gave interviews, it'd be a couple weeks, and we'll just keep playing through this theme.
American, welcome to the special edition of Cross Country on location in Moscow, Idaho. Tonight we remember Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie. Life just getting started, cut short by a still unnamed criminal. It's been about 2 weeks since the University of Idaho students were stabbed to death in their beds while they slept in that home right behind me. This gruesome attack has shattered peace of mind here in Moscow.
God, I hope I don't get whacked.
In a town
for
that never used to lock
music.
their doors, locksmiths are now being...
I'm just gonna go right to the interview with Steve because this music, I'm probably gonna get whacked for it.
Well, we just had a vacation. Law enforcement told me that they were going to drop off a little bit and not to expect the same type of communication that I had gotten before. They passed it on to another person. So basically, long story short, it was Wednesday, 5 p.m. was the last time that they reached out to me.
I think it's, I just want to bring this up. Victorine says, I love watching the early videos so much so we can reflect on after knowing what we know now. I think it's very important. I think it was very important to go back to this, to review. And like I said, I think it's important to go back because there may be things that we hear or maybe things we see that may be different in, just like she said, what we know now and what we didn't know then. Yeah, so if anybody is a paid member, I dropped on the community tab on my homepage. We do have a Discord now. You can go in there. It's a chat for paid members only. And I'll keep refreshing that as we go along. But the link is in the community board. Only members will see that link. You can go in there. And if you want to join the Discord, just become a member. And then you'll be able to go to the community page, click on that Discord link and get into the private chat. You can do memberships down below. Just hit the join button. And my memberships are literally start at $2. It's less than a cup of coffee. So we have a new member that wants to be recognized here. And just real quick, I just want to pull this up quick. Diana says, yes, Brian, thank you for these rewind shows. I think it's important. I think it's important to go back. But Pamela Hamilton has become a YouTube new member. Pamela, like I said, just go over the community tab on my homepage and you will see the Discord link posted there because I put that post up for members only. Members only will be allowed in, and I will make sure that I keep up on it if members fall off, because it's only fair that paid members are only entered into that chat. So let's do this like we always do.
I got you, homie.
Thank you so much for your membership. I do appreciate that. Let's keep playing on.
So, yeah, that's rough.
Sir, what are they telling you?
They're kind of just telling me that they can't tell me much, which is frustrating to me because I've been very trustworthy. I do know things.
So AZ is quoting, if anybody doesn't know what this is, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Let's do all the tones first and then I will explain it. And thank you so much. Oh.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
So AZ is saying $2. I want my $2. Yes, the $2 is referring to the movie Better Off Dead with John Cusack. Amazing 80s movie. And he has a badass, I think it's a 68 or a 67 Camaro in that movie that he fixes up and kicks some major ass in the end of the movie. So it's definitely a great movie. You're going to want to check that one out. But let's keep playing through.
I haven't shared things. We're the same family that found the original timeline. We're the same family that broke into the phones. We tried everything in our ability to try to get into this system because a court order is not the fastest thing. So we broke in and we did what we did. We know that we have some family passwords that we all share. So we broke in and we helped them. So it's hard for me to give up.
Say anything's good too.
My protective ability to other men.
Sir, they have shared with us that it was a targeted attack. Can you give us any information about that? Have they told you who the target was or given you more insight than they have the public?
They I don't want to talk bad about them because these are some hardworking individuals, and I'm doomed without them. We're all doomed without them.
Yeah.
This defund police is just a terrible idea. The fact that we're finding out that there's more than just my daughter and these children that have suffered, it's terrible to think that we can defund these guys. It's an absolute atrocity. That's not something that is
Christmas. Can you say that? Can you say Christmas? Sorry, I had to do a Better Off Dead moment.
it's political. It's not political. This is just facts, guys. We can't allow these people to just run free. So beyond that, they haven't shared a lot. We have some private detectives that have reached out to us and given us information. We take that with a grain of salt and we try to be careful. Just today, I reached out to the officers and said, hey, this guy's treated me with respect on the show. I'd like to share some things with him that I found out on my own, and they asked me to not do that. So we're holding our tongue. We're waiting patiently, but we're definitely concerned.
The fucking car wasn't even registered yet. Oh my God. Whew.
Yeah. So, sir, I had the opportunity to speak with those same law enforcement officials today and was able to get some information out from them as well. We want to do everything that we can do to get you answers and to solicit more information for the timeline. But there's gaps in that timeline. Is there anything that you can share with us that may put people in that direction where they would feel willing to share about that timeline?
All right, let's look at this really quick. 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. And this is according to this time. So this is, months ago. 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Kaylee and Maddie are at the Corner Club. At 1:40 a.m., Kaylee and Maddie at Grub Truck, and then 1:45, Kaylee and Maddie at Residence, which is wrong because it actually was 1:56. Gee, what was that screen?
I've heard a little bit of feedback on this that people are nervous about the timeline. I'm going to tell you guys that there's so much attention on this. If you can share your information, if you can post it, I mean, it's the internet. You can do these things anonymously. Go forward. You don't have, and for those people who are.
Look at the stools. It's just weird. It's just like it's like a, and this is only a couple of weeks out, but it's just like a time capsule. It's so interesting. It just, life stops. I mean, look, there's garbage in the garbage can. There's garbage on the side of the garbage can. It just, life just completely stopped there. You have this right here. It looks like maybe a cigarette pot where people put out their cigarettes.
We're afraid, like maybe I was intoxicated or I'm underage. That's not what they care about, guys.
The couch that's outside here.
They're not looking at that. That is not going to happen. So give your information, give out that picture, that image, that video, that selfie, whatever it is, give it out and know.
So Chosen Rosen says, do you think BK knew he was going to move to Pullman in 2021 and started to DLD Instagram and search the town hashtags Tinder? I have a feeling yes. And the reason that I think that is because if you go back and look at, and we've talked about this in previous streams, of all the social media contacts, emails, search histories, some of those, they're going back even a year and looking at all of that information. They want to see if this guy was scouting the area. They want to see all of the activity from all of the victims in that as well. And I do plan on doing a refresher show on the PCA, and I think on a lot of the search warrants. I think that's important to go over that information again too, because like I said, you look over a document once or twice, you read through it, and then you go a couple of weeks or a couple of months ahead, and then when you go back to look at it again, there's something in there that you may have missed, or something comes up. And sometimes it's just right under your nose that whole time, maybe a new angle or something that we didn't see before. So yes, I do think
that
he did.
there's zero chance that they're coming to you for, ruining your career or your anything along those lines. They're just looking for data right now. And you could be the key. You might be something that has been overlooked. So I just implore people to come forward, especially when you're even close to that timeline, because technology is the only thing that doesn't lie, really. It's just data. And then we can analyze it as a society and determine what it is, but it doesn't lie. It's just simply data. So it's better than an eyewitness. It's better than anything that we can produce. It's right up there with DNA. And I just implore you, sometimes even if you think that selfie has nothing in the background, maybe there's a car that should be there, that somebody said in their alibi, I parked right here next to this tree. And then there's that tree and your car's not there.
Steve, we're going to put that number on the screen for people to call.
Thank you.
Give any information. Sir, thank you so much for coming on the program. Keep us posted on what's going on in this investigation. We'll continue to follow it. Thanks again.
All right, so let's pull up the next interview. This one's going to be from 3 weeks out. All right, let's go, guys. Let's pull through it.
Of cross country in Moscow, Idaho.
Moscow.
Tonight, we are in front of the Moscow Police Department, and you may be asking why. It's been about 3 weeks since the horrific stabbing death of 4 college students at the University of Idaho. 3 weeks since we lost Zayna, Maddie, Kaylee, and
I'm going to fast forward past
3
this one. I
weeks
get
since
whacked with
police
the
have
music,
no
guys. Sorry.
suspect. Now on set, the parents of Kaylee Gonsalves, Christy and Steve Gonsalves. Thank y'all so much for being with me. You guys have been so transparent and strong for the public. Christy, you called the person that did this the boogeyman.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
It's literally.
Now, just to let everybody know, this is an interview from 3 weeks out. So 3 weeks has passed at this point. And you can see the desperation already on their faces to know who did this.
Like what nightmares are made of. Like when you're a little kid and you think of the boogeyman, that's just how I feel. Like that's just the horrific details of everything. Them just having a good time, going home and going to bed, and this happening to them.
Your best friend crawling into bed.
Just crawling in bed.
Every
and
girl
the
in
boogeyman
America
comes.
knows what that's
The
like.
boogeyman doesn't, meet you at McDonald's. I mean, the boogeyman comes and snatches you out of your bedroom.
Steve, we've been talking. I've been talking to folks in the community. You said something that stuck with me. You said, until this person is caught, you can't sleep in your bed.
No, I can't just lay in my bed and do nothing. That's not the way I raised my family. That's not the way I raised my girls and my son. You don't be a victim. You stand up for yourself and you do everything in your power to make sure people hear you.
That's right.
They're gonna hear Kaylee. They're gonna hear Maddie. They're gonna hear these.
The other two as well.
Yes. I'm careful saying anything about them because I need to be careful because I can't speak on somebody else's child. But these 2 girls, I'm not trying to be a glory hound, but these 2 girls, I'm going to do what I can do. And we're not being victims. We're going to fight. We're going to figure out how to make sure that we hold everybody, accountable and we keep eyes and attention on this and get this thing resolved.
Steve, you have made it very clear to our audience that you are supportive of law enforcement. You support the investigation. But recently, I've been watching and talking with you, and you're getting frustrated. What does that frustration come from, sir?
They put certain people between you and the officers that are making things happen. And those people are like lawyers and they don't want to say anything. And they don't have the guts to come up and be alpha and be like leaders and say, hey, we might say something that's wrong. We're going to take that hit. So the officers, they look me straight in their eyes. The lead detective looked me in his eyes. I have no doubt he's working as hard as he can. But somebody isn't communicating. There's nothing being released. It seems like they're trying to suppress the story. We want to put rewards out there. Like, don't do that. Yeah, I get it. Your town doesn't want to have reward posters posted all over when you come and you do your rush. You're not going to get a lot of students if they see those things. But this community is not going to heal until this guy's pulled off the streets. It ain't going to happen. Think it through. It's not going to happen. He has to be off the streets. We all are working for the same thing.
Yeah, it's
When
tough.
was the last time y'all heard from the police?
Thursday,
We looked at our phone records. We want to be accurate. We don't want to sell anyone out.
about 3 o'clock on Thursday.
And
And
they
did y'all
need-
get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing. We have no updates for you.
There was no update. They
Via
needed me to
text.
sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something
Some mail.
Yeah,
that
it'd be
was
great.
mail related. So we're working with them. We're not selling them out. We love our law support.
The FBI, everybody that's here, we just have no information as family, and it's tough day after day after day. I mean, every day you just wake up and think today's the day. We're going to hear something, and you see these, oh, there's a break in the case, and it'll just be something stupid.
The sixth
you know?
person
There's-
on the lease that was never there. Stop playing games. This is serious. These are people's lives, and this is the future of this community. There's going to be 10,000, 15,000 kids that come into this community.
All right, let's recognize this super chat from Tsunami for a YouTube premium without the commercials. I will get that in order, sir, with your donation. Thank you so much. That's so very kind of you to do that. I do appreciate that. I will sign up for YouTube premium tomorrow. Let's give this person a round of applause like we always do.
Great cash, homie.
I think we need to loop this one for a little bit. Let's let the cheer go a little bit longer here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you. Let's keep playing through here.
Next year, or they don't.
Thank you.
So be serious.
I had the opportunity to speak to some of my sources, and I've been told that there were differences in the way that the victims were killed. Some were more severe than the other. And this week we heard the target attack walk back and then reverse it back to it being a target attack. What can you tell us about the targeted attack?
They have told us that it was targeted, but they told us they can't tell who. We asked specifically, and they said, we'll try to get that information to you. And they got back to us a day or so later, and they said, we're sorry, we can't give you that information. But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted, or they think the whole house was targeted. But
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
All right, I want to rewind that. Let's listen to that little bit of a segment again, okay? I really want to go back and listen to that. So let's go back here.
That the victims were.
All right,
I've been told that there were differences in the way.
Let's really listen.
That the victims were killed. Some were more severe than the other. And this week we heard.
Now, here's something that I just picked up on body language. And this is why I asked this, because I knew this video was coming up. And this is why I asked this at the top. I asked, I think the target was, I have 71%, 38 votes said Maddie, 29% Kaylee. Watch Steve's body language when they asked the question about targeted attacks. He's almost given it away that Kaylee received the brunt of it. And that's why I still think this is Kaylee. Let's watch this. Watch, he kind of breathes in. All right, let's watch for that.
That there were differences in the way that the victims were killed. Some were more severe
Right there.
than the other.
See?
And this week we heard the
Look, let's go
that
back.
the victims were killed. Some were more severe than the other. And this week we heard
See?
the target attack walk back and then reverse it back to it being
Let's
a
go back
target,
one more
then
time.
the other.
Right
And
there.
the victims were killed. Some were more severe than the other. And this week we heard the target attack, walk back,
swallowed hard.
and then reverse
He
it back
breathed
to it being a
in
target
deep.
attack. What can you tell us about the targeted attack?
They have told us that it was
He's
targeted,
still breathing
but
hard.
they told us they can't tell who.
He's almost on
We
the
asked
verge of
specifically,
crying.
and they said we'll try to get that information to you. And they got back to us a day or so later, and they said we're sorry, we can't give you that information. But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted, or they think the whole house was targeted. But
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to
may
go up
been
the
target.
steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha, be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just gonna say it. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill. Sent my daughter to college to get an education. She came back in the box, and I can speak on that.
I was also told from sources that are closer to an investigation, because there was a lot of roommates in there. And this was horrific for those roommates that were there as well.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't think I was going to get emotional during this, but that just hit me pretty hard. That one just hit me pretty hard. Oh. Whew. I didn't think it was going to happen. Whew. That was tough to watch. Oh.
Absolutely.
The preservation of this crime scene. Witnesses tell me that it may have well been preserved because the phone was passed around between one of the fraternity members and the girls. One of them unfortunately witnessed the death, the body there. Can you confirm that?
We cannot actually. We know nothing about that whole phone call. We've asked, and it's, I mean, I know that a lot of people want to know, but that's just not our agenda. We just are like, somebody called 911, somebody was reported unconscious. We don't really know. I mean, we've heard so many different things, and nothing has been clarified or been told to us at all. And I mean, I don't know if I personally have asked anything about that. I don't know if you have asked that, but we know that this is getting 3 weeks in, and it's starting to get, we don't want it to go cold. We're reaching out. I've reached out to friends down in California today that have connections that we're hoping to raise some money to get a reward, to get a private investigator.
Third party.
Why go the private route? Do y'all worry that at the end of this week that this case may be
100%.
cold?
We're scared.
When you
We're
tell me you
scared.
don't want a photo up there with the reward offering information, that kind of sounds like you're trying to like suppress the story. I mean, why do you not need help?
Whew.
But hey, I could be wrong. And you officers, I apologize if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I want to,
absolutely.
please forgive me. Please forgive me. But if you don't have the information, people do know. If they don't, then you
Give
know,
us
the
something.
community, this is a community that is IT based. These guys live a digital footprint like we've never. All of us older people, we don't know how much that digital footprint could be helpful. So that's what we asked for. I hope like a DNA, a family lineage, if they could come out here and just start taking, this town is not that big. We could figure out this, and it might not be him. It might be a family member. We have family all going to the school together. You know, there's cousins, there's aunts, there's uncles. We could find this guy just with volunteers.
Lineage companies where are,
Put Idaho on the map.
Christy, Steve.
Oh man, that was a
We're
tough
gonna
one to
stay
watch.
on this case.
Thank you.
We're not
Thank you.
going anywhere.
Thank you.
You guys have been candid with us. We'll keep asking questions Any resource that we have available, our audience is praying for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. It was big for you guys to come back to Moscow tonight. I know it took a lot of courage to do it, and I'm hoping we can get some answers for you. Thanks so much for joining me tonight.
All right. Wow, that one was. I'll be honest, I teared up in that one. I'm an easy crier anyway, but that one hit me. That one hit me. All right. Did it hit anybody else? If it did, throw a 1 in the chat. Throw a 1 in the chat if that hit you too. That one was deep. That one was tough. That was a father advocating for his daughter. And that was just raw emotion right there. And those raw emotions sometimes get to me. But if it got to you, throw a 1 in the chat, crew. Throw a 1 in the chat. Let's see those ones. Let's see those ones. Come on. I know there's a few guys out there where it probably hit you as well. Dr. Bob, there you are, brother. Yeah, that one was tough. And I haven't even seen that whole interview. That was really the first time I watched it. And that was really my raw reaction out of that one. So I'm not going to stop. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Don't worry. Yeah, that's tough. And that's the thing. We're all connected to this. We all feel like these victims are our family because we've vested so much time in this. I mean, there's days that I drive to work or drive home from work, and I just think, like, I wonder what it was like inside that house during the happy times. I wonder what the parties were like. I never experienced college, so I think I live kind of vicariously, through this situation. What was it like to go to college? What was it like being there? What were the conversations they had? What were their lives like? And I think that we all kind of feel like that at this point, to kind of deal with that tremendous loss. It sucks. I mean, my story. I don't have to tell you my story. All right, let's keep playing through. Are you guys feeling this is informative? Are you feeling this is informative? If you are, give me a 2 in the chat. Give me a 2 in the chat. Before we go forward, I got 87 people watching. If just a few more of you could smash that like button, let's get to 100 likes this evening. I would appreciate it. All right, let's keep playing through here. Okay, where was I? Father, hang on, my videos are a little out of order. Thanks for those 2s. I appreciate all of you. Let's see. Family says suspect in Idaho. Okay, let me see. Sorry, my videos are a little bit out of order. I'm trying to pull up the tab. Okay, here we go. Let's keep playing through here.
Tomorrow will officially mark 3 weeks since
So we're 3 weeks out right now.
University of Idaho students were nothing short of slaughtered in their apartment building. Tonight, detectives are telling News Nation they are combing through 113 pieces of physical evidence, 4,000 crimes.
Well, that's interesting. So the first time this was reported by Fry, he said 103 pieces of evidence at King Road. Now it's being reported as 113, and we knew about the 4,000 photos. So that's very interesting too. We're all chomping at the bit to see that. What is that? What did they collect there? And that's the thing that everybody has to keep in mind about this. All the people that say, oh, there's no evidence against him. There's no evidence in this case. There's no this. Listen, let's just say between 103 and 113 pieces of evidence that's been collected at King Road residence, there's 4,000 photos that have been submitted as evidence as well. There's been digital scans of the complete area of inside and outside the house. So we don't even know what that evidence is yet. Then you have the search warrants. You have all the search warrants that we've seen of all the social media contacts. We've seen all the search warrants of all the bank accounts. We've seen all the search warrants for the cell phone data. We've seen the search warrant for the Bryan Kohberger's vehicle. We've seen the search warrants for all of the evidence that was collected at his parents' house. How do you say that there's no evidence in this case? There is mountains of evidence in this case. Will it lead to a conviction of Bryan Kohberger? I don't know, but we need to get there, and we need to see, and we need to solve this thing, because one, if he is the person that did this, he needs to pay for his crime. Two, if he's not the person that did this, that man needs to walk free, and they still have a lot of investigating to do. So I just don't understand when everybody says, oh, there's no evidence in this case. There's tons of evidence in this case that we haven't even seen yet. They haven't even processed. We don't even know what's been processed in the vehicle. I'm going to tell you right now, if there's one spot of blood, of DNA in his apartment, in his parents' house, in that vehicle, game over. See you later. Goodbye.
Photographs. There are even three-dimensional scans of that home. But the killer is still on the loose, and no indication from investigators on who could have committed this gruesome crime. News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Entin live for us on the ground in Moscow, Idaho tonight. Brian, we are hearing from the victims' family members.
We are, Natasha, and it is just heartbreaking. It's hard to believe that now it has basically been 3 weeks, I'm sorry, since these terrible murders. You can see the house behind me. It is still a crime scene. Moscow police have now hired private security to come out here and guard the house. The crime scene tape's still up here, right?
I mean, you have to think, and this is a good point by Cindy. She says, I think the whole social media and computer data will show more answers. I actually completely agree with that too. And I think that the cell phone data is going to be very, very relevant in this as well too. Look at the Murdaugh murders. It placed Alec Murdaugh right at the feet of his victims. Look at the Lori Vallow case that's going on right now. It's put her feet right at the victims. So, I mean, we haven't even gotten there yet. Cell phone data can be narrowed down so close now within inches of a specific area and a specific target. Oh, excuse me. All right, let's keep playing.
Now, you mentioned the victims' families. It's hard to imagine what they're going through. I spoke with Kaylee Gonsalves' family late last night. Obviously, they are somewhat frustrated that this killer is still on the run. They're also frustrated.
All right, let's recognize this new member. Shani has become a new YouTube member of the community. Let's give them the tone. Shani. You're a paid member, so if you would like to join the private Discord for paid members only, you can go over to my community page, click on that. You just have to scroll through and find the Discord server. That's our private chat. Come on into the chat and you'll be able to chat along with us on after shows or in between shows as well too. So let's keep playing through.
That so many people have been cleared already. They say they want to know the alibis, that police aren't sharing the alibis with them, and they want more information. Take a listen.
Is anyone acting differently since the murders? I mean, is there anyone that you have a weird feeling about that the girls knew or that comes to mind?
Yeah, I would say
what I'll do tonight is I'm going to go to the community page and I'll just keep posting the Discord link for paid members only. And you'll be able to get that. So just check the community page. I'll keep bumping it every, like once a week. So when if you become a paid member, you can go in there and then I'll just keep track of it. If someone drops off the memberships, obviously, if you're not paying because it's a paid service, we'll just ask you to either become a member or we'll just move on from there.
Not in the immediate circle by any means, but a few of the names that have been circulating around, I think it's hard not to kind of, dig into this. And I don't know how much of that is just because we have so little information from law enforcement and how much of it really is, a sister or a father's intuition.
Can you elaborate at all?
Let's get to 100 likes. We're only 24 away from there. I really would love that so we can get this out to the algorithm. So if you just join into the chat, smash that like button down below. I really would appreciate it.
I don't know. You don't have to give a name, but I mean, is it someone that she knew, or?
I have something to say about that. I just feel like there's been a couple individuals that were cleared very fast. That may not, maybe shouldn't have been. And yeah,
Share the strong alibi.
just really fast.
If you can
like,
dismiss,
an hour later, and we're like, what? And I don't know. I don't know anything about those individuals. I just know they were people that, definitely should have been looked at. And yeah.
I don't know what would prevent you from sharing somebody's alibi.
Yeah, I think that's what we're struggling with. So it's like, we know what we know. We've, fought for Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, and, we still stand that way. So I did just kind of want to clear that up while we're talking through this ambiguity that, that's not what we're honing in on here.
We don't want to make more victims out of innocent people.
Exactly.
We definitely don't want to do that.
So you heard from Kaylee's family there that they want more information from police. A similar message from Xana Kernodle's mother. Ashley Banfield spoke with her the first time she's spoken out. It was on Banfield last night. She had something very interesting to say, Natasha, that Xana's father was actually at the house a week prior to the murders, changing a door lock. Listen to that exclusive interview.
Her father mentioned to me that he had just went and replaced the lock the weekend before.
You said her father mentioned to you that they had replaced the lock?
Yes.
I just find it crazy, and I don't know, but I would think this is pretty routine, just of the activity in that area. I just, with as many cars that are out on that street, and I'm pretty sure it's probably like that all the time, that no one saw or heard anything that night. I just find that hard to believe. I think there's a lot of witnesses that saw things and heard things that either one haven't come forward or they're just not saying who these people are, because there's a lot of activity on that street.
The day that he had, or he had fixed it,
and
or
I would say at all hours of the night.
something. But yeah, he said that he had fixed it the week before, just to make sure.
The week before.
That could really end up being significant because there's been a lot of questions about the door locks, not just on the outside of the house, but we're told each individual bedroom had a door lock. It's unclear how the killer was able to get into the bedrooms. Were the doors left open, or was he somehow able to get into the locked room? All of that now part of the investigation. Natasha?
All right, Bryan Enton live for us in Moscow, Idaho. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
All right. So we've gotten to that point, first probably a couple of interviews from the Gonsalves family. And now we're going to get into the report of the white Hyundai Elantra. This one's about a 2-minute snippet clip. For anybody new that's come in the chat, just smash that like button down. It's free to do it. We're just trying to get to 100 likes this evening. I really would appreciate it. All right, let's pull that up as well. Let's see. Moscow. I'm just trying to get my tabs correct. Sorry. I have a lot of tabs open. All right, let's play through this one.
22,000 registered 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantras, like the one pictured here. These are stock photos, but the car would look similar to this. A car like this is believed to have been near the home of the 4 U of I students when they were killed. They're also looking into this surveillance photo of a white car taken at a nearby gas station around the time the murders took place. Tonight, the family of one of the victims is asking anyone with surveillance video to turn it over to police before it's too late. Our Vanessa Perez explains why waiting any longer could lead to critical video evidence being lost.
The clock is ticking, and the Gonsalves family says video surveillance could be erasing as more time goes by with the case unsolved. No matter how insignificant it may seem to you, it could help investigators crack the case.
What this person found so bad.
A plea from parents desperate for answers to their daughter and the other victims' murders. The Gonsalves family fears video evidence could be disappearing.
It's the community that can help. So we really feel like that's a very technology savvy generation in that town, all those college students. So that's an asset, and to not take advantage
Who's
of that
cute?
asset
Me?
seems pretty.
Or that person behind
The
me.
Gonsalves family says they want to do anything they can to help the investigation, but believe investigators could be missing the mark.
Imagine if you're a parent and you have pertinent information to this, like that dog, and you're asking me to just shut up.
I gotta get that.
Gonna happen. I'm gonna find a microphone and I'm gonna talk to it and I'm gonna tell people.
I gotta get that soundbite. Smash, smash, smash.
This is important, whether it helps solve the case or not. How can you eat that? How could you suppress that? Something you know could help your child and help everyone in that house find justice. But you can't force them to ask you the question.
Christy Gonsalves speaks about what she believes happened in the early morning hours of November 13th.
And went in very methodical.
Nika's asking, Bryan, will you replay the press conferences on your next live, please? If you're talking about Moscow police, I've already done those. You can go back to part 1 of this and rewatch it. We did like a 3-hour live stream. If that's what you're asking, I've already done those. Let's keep playing on. This clip is just about to end.
I think he really thought it out. I think he was quick. I think it was quiet, and he got in and he got out.
Refuses to let this be the new normal in Idaho. They say they won't stop until the killer is found. The Gonsalves family is having a celebration of life for Kaylee and Maddie at the Lake City Church in Coeur d'Alene, December 30th. Live in studio, Vanessa Perez, 4 News Now.
Okay, real quick before we move on, I just want to take care of this. I'm going to drop this for Nika. Hang on 1 second. Fans, chat, what should I call you? Should I call you idiots? My idiots? Hang on, my idiots. Let's see. If you are interested in going back to the first one, this is part 1. If you missed that live show, okay, I'll drop the link for part 2. This is part 2. Minions with opinions. That's a good one. I like that. Minions with opinions. That's a good one. That's part 2. And obviously, we're here tonight in part 3. So if you want to go back and watch those, please do. Okay. Let's keep on with our theme. Let's see. Okay, so let's see this here. This is Kaylee's sister.
Sister of one of the 4 college students found murdered at an off-campus house near the University of Idaho, revealing new clues.
So I was able to get a pretty good timeline on Kaylee and Maddie the night of, from about 10:15 until shortly before 3 a.m.
Olivia Gonsalves says she discovered at least 6 calls from her sister Kaylee's phone between 2:26 and 2:52 made to a boyfriend in the early morning of November 13th. Detectives now saying these phone calls are a part of their investigation. Kaylee's family is firmly standing behind that boyfriend.
I know for an absolute fact that he is not a suspect. He is not suspicious. He is 100% innocent in this.
This new information adding more insight to the police timeline before Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were stabbed multiple times, likely while sleeping, by a Rambo-style knife. Kaylee and Madison were last seen at this food truck, moments later leaving with a rideshare driver. Police now saying they do not believe that driver is involved. Police now also releasing this map that is part of the latest search area around the home and asking for new surveillance video. This TikTok showing Kaylee, Madison, and Xana inside just weeks before. The 2 surviving roommates also in the video. We are blurring their faces because police have not identified them, but confirmed the 911 call came in through one of their phones. As for those...
Okay. Michael Miller says, I have a big question. Go ahead, ask away. we're gonna listen, and this is over anyway. We're gonna go on to the next video, but let's take a pause here for a second and let Michael ask a question. It's free to smash that like button if you can, please. I love this, Manny. Can you please? Yeah, we want to get to 100 likes this evening. Just 100. That's it. It's free to smash that like button. So we're waiting for Mike's big question. Mandy Joe, I timed someone out on Brian's first live today by accident. I felt like an ass. It's okay. Did someone say something? I on that first live, if you didn't miss that, it's actually a really important live. I urge everybody to go back to that. I did an earlier live stream today. I'll post that up. Let's see. Which one was it? This one here. I'm going to post that in the chat. If you want to go back and watch it after the stream, you can. And that actually was only about a 30-minute stream. Okay. Michael says, hang tight. We'll hang tight, but I'm gonna keep the show going on. When you're ready, buddy, just type that in there and we'll pull it up and we can go through it. So this one here, let's keep playing this one. This is the Gonsalves family asking for clarity to the investigators.
Crime scene pictures, still no suspect in the murder of 4 Idaho college students stabbed in.
He's asking, why did Jack D never call Kaylee back? Probably fell asleep. I mean, maybe. Oh, you're saying why when she called him multiple times? Yeah, I mean, look, let's just say this. I kind of opened something up about my personal life today. If you missed the beginning of the stream, I was talking about a date I was supposed to go on today. That's why I wasn't supposed to be live. So let's just put it in perspective. Here's someone that I was building, a rapport with. I was supposed to go out and meet her today. And at the very last minute, she canceled on me, but she ended up texting me a few more times. I was angry and upset that my time was wasted. I didn't text her back. I wouldn't say ghosted her, but I just didn't text her back. So shit like that happens. You got to think, when you were 19, when you got mad at your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, and you're maybe fighting or something's going on, did you ever pick up the phone and call them back, or you just let the phone ring knowing it was them? So, it's a good question to ask. I think it's all been I think it's been pretty much cleared. At this point, we probably would have heard something or seen another arrest. But the Gonsalves family is pretty adamant that Jack is not involved. If you follow their Facebook page, he actually has been visiting their house quite a bit. And I don't think, knowing Steve Gonsalves, if he had any issue with Jack, I don't think that he would be welcome in that home. So let's keep playing through here.
In their sleep, families mourning their loved ones while looking to the police for answers as agonizing weeks stretch on. News Nation's Brian Enton joining us live now from Moscow. And Brian, some of these family members are frustrated. Are we any closer to a suspect than we were 3 weeks ago?
Unfortunately, not that we know of, Natasha. The latest we have heard.
I haven't worn a bra since I got this.
Me
I've
neither.
been using the Shaper Cami from Shaper
Me too.
since I came across one of their
From police is that there is still no known suspect and not even any persons of interest. The prosecutor told me this week they don't have any video of a suspect on camera, and they're still soliciting tips from the public now 3 weeks after the murders in the house behind me. You can see this is still a crime scene tape. The police department here has hired private security to keep an eye on the house at all times as the victims' families grow frustrated. I spoke with Kaylee Gonsalves' family, her mom and dad and sister, who say they're just growing impatient and they want more information from the police.
Is anyone acting differently since the murders? I mean, is there anyone that you have a weird feeling about that the girls knew or that comes to mind?
Yeah, I would say not in the immediate circle by any means, but a few of the names that have been circulating around, I think it's hard not to kind of, dig into this. And I don't know how much
Well,
of
I
that
mean, listen, there are a lot of people that are doing that these days with all the crazy stuff that goes on.
is just because we have so little information from law enforcement and how much of it really is, a sister or a father's intuition.
Can you elaborate at all? I don't know. You don't have to give a name, but I mean, is it someone that you knew or?
I have something to say about that. I just feel like there's been a couple individuals that were cleared very fast. That may not, maybe he shouldn't have been. And yeah,
Share the strong alibi.
just really fast.
If
Just
you can
like,
dismiss,
an hour later, and we're like, what? And I don't know. I don't know anything about those individuals. I just know
right.
They were people that, definitely should have been looked at. And yeah.
I don't know what would prevent you from sharing somebody's alibi.
Yeah, I think that's what we're struggling with. So it's like, we know what we know. We've, fought for Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, and, we still stand that way. So I did just kind of want to clear that up while we're talking through this ambiguity that, that's not what we're honing in on here.
We don't want to make more victims out of innocent people.
Exactly.
We definitely don't want to do that.
So they're pretty adamant that Jack is.
And so what the family is talking about is
innocent.
There's been a number of people involved who police have said have been cleared at this point. The family is saying they want to know what the specific alibis are. They want to know the evidence and proof of why police cleared those people. Also, Xana Kernodle, that's another one of the victims. For the first time, her mom spoke out last night to Ashley Banfield. Something very interesting. She revealed that Xana's father was actually at this house within a week of the murders. Listen to what she said.
Her father mentioned to me that he had just went and replaced the lock the weekend before.
You said her father mentioned to you that they had replaced the lock?
Yes, that he had fixed it or something. But yeah, he said that he had fixed it the week before, just to make sure.
The week before.
It's interesting because the way this house is set up behind me, there's a coded lock on the front door, and then we're told the bedrooms, at least most of them, have individual coded locks into the bedrooms. So the fact that her father changed the lock is interesting. We're trying to figure out how the killer got into these rooms. Were the doors open or were they closed? All of that still under investigation. Natasha?
All right, Bryan Enton live for us in Moscow, Idaho. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Okay. All right. We're going to get everybody's favorite News Nation reporter here in a second. How are you all liking the shows so far? If you're enjoying this, drop a 1 down in the chat. If you want me to do something else, drop a 2. But I'm going to tell you, there's probably going to be a lot of 1s. Do you like these going back series? Drop some 1s or 2s. 1s or 2s. 1s or 2s. Let's take a little bit of a break for a second. Let's hang out in the chat for a second. Canadian Cat Lady, so she's loving it. Look at all these 1s. 1s, 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 1s. 1s, 1s, 1s. 1s. I love it. I love all these 1s. I love all these 1s. 1s.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
All right, let's take a breather for a second. Let's lean back. Let's lean back. We got to relax a little bit.
Steven.
We knew we would get that one in there.
Liar.
I'm loving all the 1s. 1s. Elbow cough. 1. Hello, Aria. How are you? Brian's loving it. We got a new face in here. 1983 JCE. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. See, I love seeing all the new, the Greek. I love seeing all the new faces. It means the channel's growing. Oh, another new face. H1. Loving it. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Breather before the fake news. You know who I'm getting to. Which one? The creaking chair or the Steven? Which one? This one?
Steven.
Or this one?
How dare you?
You are fake news.
All right, let's pull up the chat. Let's pull up the next video. All right, we got our little breather. Aria says, I'm doing a great job, but she says, I keep missing you live, but you're here, and you can always watch the replays. All right, let's pull up everybody's favorite News Nation reporter. All right, let's do it.
You hear it all the time. There is no detail too small in a murder investigation, and you can multiply that by 4 in the Idaho case. But one detail that has just surfaced is 17 seconds long, and it is anything but small. It's new surveillance video of Kaylee Gonsalves and Maddie Mogan on the night that they were murdered, and the video was captured at 1:30 in the morning. They're on their way to the now infamous food truck after spending the evening at a corner club bar. That's the corner club, famous in downtown Moscow. The surveillance cameras at a local business captured the video of the girls as they made their way down the sidewalk towards the food truck from the bar. If you take a look at a map, you can see exactly where they had been.
Well, we're
at the
glad
corner
you're here
club,
too.
10:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m., and where they were going to the grub truck, 1:40 a.m., and where this camera captured the images on Main Street. It even captured what the girls were saying, and you can hear it clear as a bell. Let's listen.
Hi, everyone. Mark Barden here at Sandy Hook Promise.
Well, hello.
On December 14th, 2000.
What did you say to Adam? I told Adam everything.
Did you hear that? Kaylee yells to Maddie, what did you say to Adam? And Maddie answers, like, I told Adam everything.
Yeah,
So
it's just a bunch of typical college kids having a conversation.
Here it is again. You can clearly hear that exchange between the two girls.
What did you say to Adam?
He's drunk, too.
But the $64,000 question is, who is Adam? And it's a good question. And another good question, who on earth was the hooded man walking down the sidewalk with the girls in that video? There is an uncanny resemblance to the hooded man who was standing behind the girls at the food truck the whole time that they were there, like plus 10 minutes. And the man that police said they cleared early on. Joining me now is Shannon Gray. He is the attorney representing the family of Kaylee Gonsalves. Mr. Gray, thank you so much for being here. So let's start with Adam. Who exactly is Adam? And has Adam been helpful at all in this investigation?
It's my understanding that Adam is just the bartender at the corner bar that they were referring to. I don't think I think it was just conversation they were having between the two of them. I don't think he's involved in the investigation at all, though. So.
But wouldn't he? I mean, you've done so much investigative work, and you've been a prosecutor and a defense attorney in murder cases, so you know how it works.
I always love when I always love in news, and I love when you watch these segments when they have a guest on, they ask him about a specific thing, and then you know, like this lawyer's like, I just don't think you have to worry about that. What? But you know, yeah, you've done all this investigating, you know everything. Like they try to just pull it back in and try to tie something to this person. So. Yeah, it's crazy.
Works. And I would imagine that anybody who saw these girls in the hours before they died might be able to at least say who was in the bar, whether they witnessed anything unusual. What was it when they said, I told Adam everything? Do you have any idea what that meant? Was that something Adam could enlighten everybody to?
I have no idea. I can't speak to that conversation. I would hope that the Moscow Police Department would follow up with this video and some of the statements that were made in it.
Thank you.
So that's what we're having faith that they followed up on that on the video. So
yeah. Amen to that. What about the notion that there's a lot of sort of people triangulating social media? As you know, there's cyber sleuths who sometimes wreak havoc, but sometimes really provide some pretty good investigative help to police. And there is some connection between Adam and Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. There's pictures of them. I think on TikTok, there's a picture of Adam with Kaylee's dog. So they clearly have a close friendship. Do you know anything about the connection between Adam and Kaylee's ex-boyfriend?
Steven.
no, I don't. We don't have any of that information. So, you know, this is stuff that I think people are just, you know, doing some digging and, you know, it's part of the investigation process. When you're not getting a lot of information, people start digging into a lot of different things and trying to figure out things on their own. And we believe that the community is who will help solve this case anyway. So, you know, we encourage people to continue to do the things that they need to do and help out the police in the investigation.
All right. So what about the young man in the hoodie who's walking with Kaylee and Maddie down the sidewalk and who looks so much like the young hooded man who was seemingly lurking in the background, but did not appear to be with them in any way at the food truck? Does Kaylee's family believe it's the same person? And is there any concern about how early he was cleared in all of this?
Well, we believe it. I mean, looking at the video, we think it's probably the same person. This video appears to be shot right before the food truck. They get to the food truck. So I think they think that it's the same person that was with them at the food truck. In regards to clearing people, I think clearing is one of those words that investigators use as far as they might clear someone and then they might get new additional information and revisit that person somehow down the line. So, if they've cleared him in this, I'm not sure that they can't revisit any potential suspects that they might have.
I can imagine that this is just excruciating for your clients, for the Gonsalves family. Steve and Christy have said before they're frustrated. They want more information from the police. And it's come to our attention that the lead investigator on the Moscow police, who's running the show for the Moscow police, is a 2-year veteran of the force. So he's literally a rookie. I don't know if I got bad information or if that's true. Do you know anything about that? And why on earth, if that's true, would someone with so little experience be put in charge of something so incredibly difficult, complex, and critical?
From the get-go, I really want to make it clear that we are supportive of the investigation. We're supportive of everybody that's working on the investigation. We're supportive of all of the resources that have been provided for the investigation throughout. But we also have to hold people accountable for the decisions that they're making. My understanding is that the person when we went into the meeting on Monday, Brett Payne is the individual who identified himself as the lead investigator from the Moscow Police Department on the case. My understanding is that he was hired in 2020 as a rookie, and so he has a total of 2 years experience. As some follow-up to that, I sent a request over. I sent an email over to the Moscow Police Department asking for them to send some credentials over, some experience, education that Officer Payne might have that would lead, how he might be able to lead this investigation, give us some confidence in that. And their response was that it's personal records and we're not privy to that information.
Oh, okay.
And
we'll see what we can dig up on that. We can certainly do some digging on that as well and find out. I have one other question for you. Jenna, let me ask you one more question. I've only got about 20 seconds left, but I do want to ask you this because this is happening more and more with crime victims. It happened to the Sandy Hook families. It happened to Shanann Watts' family. More and more, the cyber community, who can be so cruel, harass crime victims. Has this been happening to the Gonsalves family too?
Yes, the Gonsalves family has received, they will receive random emails or text messages or things along those lines that are just, completely inappropriate. They're taunting or whatever it might be. And
we did it. We did it. We did it. All right, let's keep playing through.
And in today's world, it's amazing that people are out there that do these things to victims of crimes. And it's my understanding that, the Moscow Police Department it stated that if those people cross the line in regards to harassment, that they'll be prosecuting those individuals. So, hopefully they'll stick behind that if that ever comes up and becomes an issue with any of the victims' families. So
I'm so sorry to hear that, Shannon. Please pass on, our regrets to the family that they're having to go through that. That's being doubly victimized, and it's just unconscionable. Thank you for being here. I appreciate this.
All right. We got it. We got the 100 likes. Oh, little dance, 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 little dance. I probably won't do that again. All right, let's keep playing through this here. Let's see. I have the full interview with the Gonsalves family. And again, I've been kind of lining these out as the timeline has gone. So I went all the way back to the beginning when it was like a week out, and now it's progressively getting closer to Kohberger's arrest. So let's keep going with that theme and keep playing through
Their
here.
attorney Shannon Gray is also standing by as well. And thank you, all of you, for doing this and giving us this opportunity to touch base with you. I know this has got to have been one of the most difficult days of your life. Steve, let me begin with you. Your reaction after laying eyes on the person accused of doing this horrendous crime against your family.
I just looked at a guy that looks like a normal, everyday, kid. I mean, I didn't see anything there that caught my eye. I just was overtaken by the fact that I was in a courtroom going over a case that had to do with two people that I cared and loved about. It was a little bit unreal, but I was just overtaken by the moment.
Christy, I can imagine that is an understatement, being overtaken by something. You're in a club no one ever wants to belong to. There are so many others across this country who have been through what you've been through and say the same thing. It's unbelievable. They're numb. Does that sum up how you felt? Can you tell me what you thought?
I expected to feel just this immense amount of hate. And I'm sure that will come. I think that I'm a little bit in shock still. But looking at him, I just felt nothing. I mean, I just looked at him like, and I couldn't take my eyes off of him, his every moment. And I just could not believe that he has done what he has done. And I had a sick feeling for sure.
So we've gotten to the arrest, I believe, right? This is the arrest that Kohberger's been arrested. Okay.
Sure, it was very emotional, but on the other hand, I just was numb.
You expected him to be a bigger monster and a more intimidating.
I mean, I'm like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
This is the guy that murdered our daughter.
Are you going to be okay with continuing these court hearings? Are you going to show up at all of these court hearings? This is a lot. It's a lot to process. Before this, you were just parents of a couple of really great kids and living the American dream. And now there's...
I'm already going to tell you, I got one of these videos out of order. I apologize. I'm just kind of looking where my tabs are. Some of these are going to be a little bit out of order. I'm sorry, but we'll keep playing through this one. I don't want to stop it.
There's this new normal in your life.
I think we'll lean on the prosecutor to tell us.
We're going to get there.
The information is going to be to a level, like I've already told them what I'm comfortable with hearing about the family house. I don't want to hear any of the gory details. So there'll be certain days that we're there and certain days that we check out,
We have Shannon that will keep us in tune with that as well. And we have other family members that will be going on some of those harder days. They feel that they can be there because we know it's a long road, but and it's a drive for us. But we'll do it every day if we have to. We just don't want to give big bad details.
There's there on the screen. There are pictures of Kaylee as you're talking, and I'm always struck by how much she looks like you. Absolutely stunning.
You.
Just such a beautiful girl. Indeed.
Yeah, we didn't look
and
like that. The mama's girl.
She looks like you, Steve. She's got some of you too. I just wanted to get a sense from you about justice. What is it? What does it look like for you? I mean, you're just starting this process.
For me, it's going to look a lot like an end. I mean, justice doesn't have a room where you can read books and you can go to school and you can have 3 meals and you can have your vegan diet. To me, that's not justice. Justice is when you leave the planet and the whole world is able to rejoice and be glad that you are not there. That's justice, and we will forgive him. We will. We're not going to have that heavy weight on us. We will forgive this individual and we will but he has to pay for what he's done. And it's not just our daughter, it's all the victims he needs to pay justice to. And, you know, that's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
Chrissy, it's always a shock to face the person who's alleged to have committed these horrendous acts and changed your lives forever. If you could say something to this person, what would you say?
I would just, I wouldn't want to give him too much. But I mean, I would tell him that, he destroyed our lives in an aspect. Does he realize what he has taken from us, from these 4 families? I mean, Ethan was a triplet. Maddie was an only child. Xana had siblings. Kaylee was one of 5. She was the middle child. She had 2 older siblings, 2 younger siblings.
Gator says DM will be destroyed on the stand. It's either ID or frozen shock. Can't be both. Yeah, I think that she's going to have a tough time on that stand. Unless there's some really striking evidence that comes up to support why that was the 8-hour gap.
Just the immense loss. I mean, did he really think? I mean, he did really think about it, which makes it really hard. But why?
And I would add to that if you were looking for cruel girls that were bullies to you through your life when you were struggling, you picked the wrong girls. My girls have been through a lot, and they weren't the ones to pick on somebody that because they were overweight or they were struggling and people weren't. They were actually the ones that stick up for you. So yeah, you picked the wrong person if you were looking for vengeance on some people that were mean to you in your life, and you picked the wrong community. And we're gonna have to hold you accountable for that mistake.
Speaking of that accountability, has the prosecution or anybody from the...
I got a response. Ready? So does everybody want to hear my date's response? Ready? Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to paraphrase here, but it says, honestly, I am sick. I've been in bed all afternoon and evening. Then why didn't you just cancel this morning? I think that you're just backtracking here now. And I hope that she is still watching. And the fact that you're on air and you're airing your info on your podcast just shows me the type of guy you are. I love this shit now. Now it's my fault. I could have chosen to go out with many guys tonight, but I continued speaking to you and wanted to meet. Miss Popular. I used 2 hours of sick time today. Didn't even finish the class I was in. Pretty nasty, honestly. Good luck dating. If you didn't feel well this morning, then why didn't you just cancel this afternoon? Why was it always leading up to an hour before we were going to meet? You're fake, bro, or chick, whatever. See you later. Good luck. All those guys that she could have went out with. Well, good luck. That just tells you right there. And you just got sussed on that too. So not only were you talking to me, you were talking to all these other guys that you could have went out with. Good luck. See ya. Delete my
prosecutor's
number.
office discuss the option of a death penalty because victims' families are consulted typically?
No, I'm not gonna listen. This is it. This is the last of that conversation, but I find it very funny. And she did watch this evening because she knew that I was going to talk about her. So whatever. She's stupid. Good luck. See you later. Go out with all your guys. Let me know how that all works out for you in the end.
Throughout the process, and this is an option on the table.
Honestly, that was the worst explanation I've ever heard in my entire life. That was literally the worst explanation to try to pin this. So she's the victim now. She's the victim in all of this. I love it.
State of Idaho.
It's amazing.
We've talked with them. We've had multiple meetings.
In my chat,
I
this is
think
what my
they
chat
probably want to do it all the families together before they just approach one. That would
See you
make the
later.
most sense. But we've had meetings, but we have not crossed that actual
I'm deleting your
Yeah, I
number
mean, they
right
couldn't even
now
disclose
as I'm
just
speaking
until
live on
recently
air.
that they were this close. They
I'm
kind
the
of said
bad
that,
guy.
hey, give us some time. We think we have the right
Deleted.
person. We're going to get
Peace.
this. But we couldn't go from that to death penalty or those type of details.
Do you both have a feeling as to how you would respond to that question once the prosecutors put it to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we know.
We're glad that we live in
And that
Idaho.
is,
Definitely.
I'm assuming that
Definitely.
you are in favor of the death penalty for this
Absolutely.
If
defendant.
our daughters could switch places with him, and I'm saying Maddie is my daughter, we'd do it in a heartbeat. If they could sit there and have 3 squares, a place to live, and we could call them, we could write them letters, they could watch TV, they could get
I
educated.
would love if Maddie and Kaylee were doing life in prison right now.
Yeah, so
At least we could talk to them.
that's not
They'd be breathing.
a punishment equivalent to being killed. That's God's role. And if you want to play God's role, then you're gonna have to go answer to him.
Do you know if the Mogan family feels the same way? I know you all are very close with the Mogans.
We have not talked to them about that. I was going to call her last night, and I did not. So I'm not sure.
Easy to talk about.
I'm not sure, but I have.
I have to like quote. You won't go out with me, but you'll watch my podcast. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I have a feeling that
Hopefully you're watching from bed tonight.
That they will, but I can't say that for sure.
They're very forgiving.
I want to ask,
family.
it's incredible to hear the words
So
forgive.
were you watching me tonight to test me and see if I was going to say anything?
Out of your mouth,
This
Steve. It floors me. It's extraordinarily magnanimous.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a very strong family if you're able to be there today, especially on day one of this process, seeing him for the first time. I would love to ask your attorney, Shannon Gray, if I can. Shannon, was there anything in the affidavit you didn't already know about? Are there things that you know more about than the public knows now?
Well, I think there were a lot of things in the affidavit that we had no idea about. The DNA and the sheath. We had suspected some things. The identification, I think we had suspected. But there were a lot of things that, there was quite a bit of information in that affidavit. I was actually surprised there was so much information in the affidavit. But, it looks like it's a solid case. And, I kind of look at the case in 2 different ways. As a former prosecutor, I look at it as a prosecution case, and it looks like a solid case. And then I flip the hat and I say, okay, as a criminal defense attorney, how would I look at it? And I still have a hard time with the evidence that's been mentioned in the affidavit. And that's not the entire case. There'll be additional circumstantial evidence that'll be provided.
There's no name.
That will make more connections, hopefully.
That's it. That's the end of it. That's it. We're just gonna, that's it. We move on.
The defendant in the case.
No names.
And like they've always said, it's not just a arrest, it's a conviction. So we're hoping that that's the case.
Steve and Christy,
We'll just shut
when
that down.
we
It's over.
covered
We move on.
the tragedy that befell Gabby Petito, her father, Joe Petito, said that there were some lessons that he learned very early in the process, and that was to pay particular attention to your other kids because they are going through an immeasurable trauma. Have you had a chance to navigate this with your other kids, with Kaylee's siblings, and have you charted a course forward?
Yes, we have our 2 are adults and they are grown, and we have talked to them, and they know, they can reach out to grief counseling and whatnot. And we are very open and we talk a lot about it. We cry a lot about it. And that's not always enough. But our 2 younger children, right
No
now,
initials.
we're kind of letting them do their own grieving
It's over.
for a little while longer.
We're just gonna pause on that. Let's not. It's over now. It's over. I'm going to recognize this new member. Stevie Irwin has become a new member of the channel. And you know what we do for the new members?
I got you, homie.
Thank you so much, Steve. If you want, you can go to the community tab and you will see on the community tab the private link for the paid discourse. You can go right in there because you are a channel member. That's one of the perks. Go to the community tab after this and connect into the Discord server if you would like to join us in the chat. Let's keep playing through.
Before we start some grief counseling with the church. They have some great people for us to reach out to, and we plan on reaching out to them. I've been talking to the pastor on a daily basis, and he has some really good, they go through grief counseling himself as the pastor, and he has a team like for teens and whatnot. And he feels that they are like the best, and I trust him. He's a great man, and he's got us through a lot here lately. And we feel that we just don't want to throw it on them, because right now they're like, no, we don't need that. But I don't see how they cannot not need that. You know, they're young, and they're heartbroken, and they're confused.
Yeah, this is their friend and sister.
Yeah.
And
so,
and you know, Maddie as well, right?
Yes.
I would assume that Kaylee's siblings were very close with Maddie as well. This is a tremendous amount of burden to try to process for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maddie was very kind and had been a sister to them for so long that it was just, we took for granted that she was there and that she would always be there. So yeah, it hits everybody a little bit different, and you have certain memories that you tie to certain individuals. So it's my girls miss them both, and my son is torn. You know, it's something we're gonna have to work together. We're not very good at this kind of stuff, but we're gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah, we're not, and it's not something you want to be good at. But just
I'd like to,
as a family.
So my son was headed off to camp, and
I'd like to introduce you to Joe Petito. I think it might be helpful just in terms of
advice from somebody who's been there for a second. Yeah, we're not.
Be pleased to do that. Shannon, we'll speak after the program, and I will connect all of you together. I do want to ask you, Steve, about some of the information in the affidavit. It seemed as though the police had their eyes on this suspect within 2 weeks of the crimes being committed, and yet for 4 more weeks, he was in Moscow, he was in Pullman, he was crossing the country. And I wanted to get your thoughts just on the notion that there were so many other people, classmates, neighbors, both in Washington and in Pennsylvania, who may have been at risk because they were so close to him before he was actually brought in cuffs. What were your thoughts about that?
I think we all kind of shared that as a community, that there was a risk of somebody being out there. And I took that very personal, because I had so much weight on top of me, and I knew all these other victims that were associated with my family were being hurt with just overall media and coverage. But these guys, there's no perfect way to do this. And these officers they just did an amazing job. And I was hard on them, and I'll come out and say that I owe them all the gratitude in the world, and I've always supported the police. But it's the school of thought that I come from. Like, everybody can do their best, and they need to come to the every day trying to be the best person that they can possibly be. So I won't back off of that, but these guys did an amazing job. They need more credit than they had. I mean, people think Idaho is so old fashioned and out back, but these guys, they hit a home run, man. That affidavit is impressive. And I'm glad to be wrong. I wanted to be wrong. And I told them to their face, I looked them in their eyes and said, prove me wrong, and all is forgiven. And here we are, and all is forgiven. And I'll say that on camera, and I'll tell everybody, I was concerned, but I was wrong. They were right. And I'm okay with that. I have my person now. We have our person of interest, our defendant, and we will go after him, and he better be ready.
I can't thank you enough for spending the time with us tonight, Steve and Christy and Shannon as well, especially on a day like you've been through today. And I send you love and strength as you embark on this journey. And I look forward to covering this as well and seeing justice actually coming through for all of you and your families.
Thank you. You've been dedicated to this story. That's why we're here, because we appreciate hard work and effort, and you have been amazing. You have been so strong on this case, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
And I believe the same with Bryan. I think Bryan is one of your coworkers, and he's been great as well.
Well, we'll continue. We're not letting go. We're going to make sure that we're on it as well with you. Again, as I said, on this journey. And as I said, Shannon, I'm going to connect with you after the program and hopefully get you in touch with Joe Petito.
So Chosen's asking questions. Would they be able to read their own statements in court once a guilty verdict is read? Okay, so first thing, everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So Bryan Kohberger right now is presumed innocent until proven guilty. If there is a guilty verdict, what they can have during sentences, it's called a victim impact statement, and that would give them the opportunity to step up and talk. We don't know if they will, but that will give victims the opportunity to step up and talk. Okay, so we're done with this interview here. Like I said, I have... Shit, I think this is out of order. Yeah, some of these are a little out of order, so I apologize on that, but let's pull this one up here and let's play through this.
This is Steve Gonsalves.
We're going to go probably about another half an hour and then wrap this up for the evening. So I appreciate everybody for sticking around so far. You guys have been amazing. We've had over 100 people all night watching. And I appreciate everybody for hanging out, all the super chats, all the new members. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, go down and hit that like button, smash the like button, and also please subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Turn on all bell notifications. I live stream 3 nights a week, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'd love for you to come over and join this amazing community.
Steven.
All right, let's play this.
And I think Shannon Gray, his attorney, who we've had on the show a couple of times, is around also. It's good to see you, counselor.
Thanks.
Stephen, I'm very sorry to meet you under these circumstances. I really feel for your family. I've been watching.
How to kill all mosquitoes in the area.
How do you do it?
This simple but brilliant trick you can do tonight.
Watching you and reading your words and talking with your attorney, I know what this has been like on your family. And first and foremost, how's everybody doing?
Oh,
hard to get a grasp. Today we have a basketball game to go to. My youngest daughter will be playing basketball today. So after I'm done with this, we'll be in a gym and cheering her on and hoping that they win another game.
What is normal now? Where is your head and heart in terms of how you process how to feel?
I don't know what normal is. We're trying to figure that out. Me, my wife, and the children. You know, we just try to do the normal things, go to dinner and, you know, have some time, spend together, play some board games, just do things that, you know, Kaylee loved when she was here. And we're a big family, so we enjoy our company, and there's usually 2 or 3 friends spend the night. So we just try to stay busy. I think it's hardest when you have idle time in mind. That's when it starts hitting you the worst.
There was such urgency to find who did this. How did it hit you once they did? When you saw the face, when you saw the name, what did it mean?
It was a chapter. It was like, all right, this is how I planned it. We were going to get this guy, and I wanted to get him faster. You know, obviously everyone tells you time's an essence. So the longer you feel, the more dread you have, and the more pressure you feel that you need to do something, because things don't happen on their own. But I mean, I knew I had a lot of officers and a lot of agents working on this case, and I just try to sit back and give them time, and then keep my family stable.
I know you guys have been concerned about communication and how they were doing the job and the intensity. Did not just the arrest, but the affidavit allay your fears that these guys were up to the job, the level of detail, the legwork?
Yeah, definitely. If I would have had a tenth of that, I would have not stressed so much, and I think my wife as well. But it's not really about me. It's about justice, and it's about all the families being able to make sure that they get that justice. So unfortunately, you have to suffer. You have to go through some heartache, and you have to just put your trust in a group of other people. That's not easy for me. I'm a self-control kind of guy. I want to be able to go and do it and not be a victim and not blame others. I want to take an active role. But in this case, that was all I was given. We were active and we helped, but you still got to trust the system. And in the long run, we got what we were looking for. And that affidavit's very impressive. And there's a lot of evidence there.
It's very impressive. What else is it to be the father of a young woman who was stolen by this guy? When you read it, what was its impact on you?
It's hard. I mean, there's parts you just don't want to.
So Amber Rice is asking, Bryan, I have a question. If you see this, do you, all right. Bryan, I have a question. If you see this, do you know if they've spoken to Kaylee's family since Brady Giglio issues come up that we were worried about? I think that the gag order has stopped all media. Media is not allowed to interview them. I don't know if they're not allowed to interview them, but probably disclose any type of information. I think everybody that's in and surrounding this case is not allowed to talk. That's basically what's going on. So maybe possibly they are giving interviews that haven't been released yet. But I think Brady Giglio kind of shuts everything down. And it would be probably in the Gonsalves' family best interest right now not to talk or say anything. They have their suspect. He's in jail. They don't want to give any reason to give any evidence to the court or any inklings to the court to let this guy walk free. So they really got to be careful and keep their mouth shut. I'm just curious to see how much they know about this case now, how much information has been given to them about what happened. I think that would be very interesting to hear that. But right now, it's going to be all silence until June 26th. They don't want to say anything to fuck anything up, basically, to give the court or give the prosecution some bullets in their chamber to go in and say, hey, the Gonsalves family's speaking. They're talking. They shouldn't be doing that. They're giving information back to the media. That's why you're getting just kind of leaked sources on Banfield or in news articles. Those are obviously people that are very close to the investigation. I'm not sure what the orders are for Pennsylvania police. I'm not sure if they're able to talk. I'm not sure if that gag order follows into Pennsylvania. It may, because it is all one giant case, and we know that Pennsylvania was part of the Moscow investigation as well too. It's it's a piece to the puzzle. So we'll have to see. We still got some time. We still got a lot of time until June. I'm sure something else is going to leak out here soon. There's ways of getting information. So yeah, absolutely. And I may be wrong on that. I'm just giving you kind of my opinion on it, but that's kind of where I see things at right now. Okay, let's keep playing through.
Read, you don't want to think about why he would say some of the words that he said. The eyewitness overhearing him talk, it enrages you to the point where you want to do something stupid. So I try to I stop, and then I go back later on when I have a fresh mind, and then I can go back and look at it again and then absorb what's in there. But I can't do it all at once.
Is this the guy you imagined?
No, I thought he would be much more, bigger and more of a monster, obviously, and have those key looks of somebody who couldn't get along with girls, and this was like his only option.
Kind of has that look.
He just looked like a normal guy that when it stood up any room or any party, you wouldn't, just by the looks of him, you wouldn't realize that he had that going through his head.
Hey, thank you for watching.
All right.
Please go to News.
Oh, go to News Nation. All right, let's keep playing on here. We got a couple more videos, and then we're going to wrap. I just sneezed, by the way. That's what I was doing. If anybody's like, what the hell is he doing? This one's with King 5 Seattle. And it says, father of Idaho victim Kaylee Gonsalves speaks out. So let's see. It's about a 20-minute video.
And she knew
A little bit longer of a video.
Fit in. She was the one who was the planner, the organizer, and always wanted to push the envelope a little bit. If we wanted to go on a week vacation, she wanted to make it 10 days, and if it was going to be to one country.
I'm Game Warden Joe Pickett.
Country or two countries, she wanted to make it 5 or 6.
I was sneezing.
So that's
I hit the
holiday. She was the one who wanted to do the gingerbread houses and push it. She knew me. I would just be like, I would use any excuse not to want to go and do that and just relax watching football and just kick back. But she knew to make memories, you got to do those type of things. So we'll miss that.
I think that so he's saying, Nika's asking, so we're assuming that the Gonsalves family are not working with law enforcement. No, I'm sure that they are, but I wouldn't say put it past that they aren't still using a PI. I'm sure they have a PI still looking into this.
That gift that she brought to us every single day, and she was a little ornery too, so we'll miss that as well. My family, we don't not everyone's just perfect, so good jokes and a little tease here and there, that's totally fine with us.
What did she love and what did she maybe not love?
You know what? She was the first one that stepped out and liked the country music, and we'd kind of razz her and we'd tease her a little bit because nobody else did, you know. But that's how she was. She step out on that ledge all by herself. So she loved doing that and going to concerts and hanging with her friends. She'd go buy some goofy little barbecuer and a tent and an air mattress and think that she was gonna, you know, spend a weekend out on the Gorge concert or some concert along those lines. So that's the main thing that you know we remember that, and no one else is really into country. They kind of got into country after her because she kind of forced us all to start listening to it. But she was like that Taylor Swift girl that, you know, loved that stuff and was playing it in her room as she was cleaning it all day long.
When you think about her and Maddie's friendship, I mean, two best friends who went off to school together, the fact that, and you said this in the vigil, that they were killed in the bed together. When you think about their friendship and what Maddie meant to you, will you tell me a little bit about that too?
I just read a letter where Maddie wrote to Kaylee talking about their friendship, and you know, it was powerful, and you know, they were beyond sisters, you know, because sisters are, you kind of forced to get along. These two didn't, you know, they weren't forced, but they were close enough to where, you know, if they got mad and one was deciding to go somewhere else and the other didn't, they always patched up and they always got together and, you know, planned these crazy trips that they did together. They were just like yin and yang, and it was nice because, you know, Kaylee would come over to the house or over to their house, and then Maddie would come to our house, and then they were opposites. Like her house was empty and nice and quiet and peaceful. She could do her homework, but Maddie wanted to come over here and play with her sisters. And, you know, I feel like a big sister in our house, and she was always good with the kids. So it really worked out to where it was just a natural fit.
Thinking about the fact that it's been 2 months without them, without your daughter, without Maddie, without these young Xana and Ethan, do you feel like you finally have some semblance of answers? And obviously the justice process hasn't happened, so innocent until proven guilty, but what are you feeling now that we know who the suspect is?
I feel relief. It was nearly 7 weeks of absolutely no clear guidance that we were on the right track. We had evidence. We knew there was evidence, but all that can mean nothing until you have a face and a personality to put it towards. So when we found that out, luckily it was in the middle of the night, you know, 10:30. We were able to run around the house, wake everyone up and say, hey, you know what, we got this guy, we got somebody. But you tell yourself to be careful because you never know for sure. You know, it's a defendant, and it's not done. There's still a lot more work to do. So that's where we're at now. We're ready for the next chapter to be, okay, we're going to go in and, you know, we got the affidavit and we seen that it wasn't a page, it wasn't 2, it wasn't 3 or 4 or 5. It was long. I believe it's like 14 pages, maybe longer. And you look at that and you're like, all right, it was worth the wait. And they had a lot of evidence to show for that. So we're on the right track, and there's still a long ways to go, but it feels good. It feels good to be where we are right now.
What was it like seeing him in court yesterday? What kind of sense did you get from his body language and the way that he acted?
I gotta say that he was shocked that he had messed up so bad. He had read that, and I think he knew how damaging it was, and he wasn't going to be able to explain a lot of that stuff very easily. He could, I'm sure he thinks he can, but I seen a man who looked defeated, and his body language looked like somebody in shock and dismay. So I think he knows how much he has to go against, and he's the reality of it setting in.
Do you think he didn't expect to find himself in this position?
Yeah, I totally believe he's somebody who's arrogant enough to think I could commit a crime and not think about the consequences, because the consequences go to people who don't get caught, who aren't as intelligent, as smart as me. And I've looked into his background. I've heard some of his best friends talk about how he was very brash, and he had a sense of superiority. So it's easy to think that when it's all in your head, you sound like you're perfect. But then when the reality comes and you do something like this, and you realize it only takes one mistake, we got a sheath right next to a body. Yeah, have fun with that. How are you going to explain that? It's got your DNA on it. So I think the reality of that, and a lot of digital forensics, cell phone records.
I honestly think that the digital forensics is going to be huge in this case. It's going to outline everything. I really do. And Steve's talking about that right now, and that's just all the things that I'm salivating at, because I think there's going to be a lot of bombshells in that. I think the 911 call is going to tell a lot as well, if we ever get to hear that. The body cam videos, if we ever get to see those.
The FBI's put together is extremely impressive. So I think they're going to I think he's starting to realize that he's never going to see freedom ever again.
What would you say to him? And I heard you, I think it was on the News Nation interview yesterday with Christy, say, we will forgive him. I mean, that's a surprising thing, I think, for a lot of parents to hear. I mean, tell me a little bit about that forgiveness.
I think as a family, you have a big family, you got to learn to forgive. And, kids make mistakes, and you learn as a parent, that's part of the process.
So Annie Potts says, I think the bank warrants for the kids and the 4 redacted others will be the bomb drops. Explain what you think is so important about that. Can you tell the chat that? Type what you think is so important about that, and what you think the bomb is going to be.
But we've all known in our family, there's nothing more hard to get over.
So I don't know what you're getting at, Annie, though. You have to tell the chat what you're getting at.
Taking their opportunity to ask for forgiveness from other people. And, that's the end. I said it, you play God that day when you do that. And when you go and do something like that, the responsibility is you're going to have to take that person's place if you've done it in a fashion that is unfair and unjust. And I think that's what the court will be determining, was this unfair and unjust. And once that's determined, then that's what the law is there for. So, yeah, but we will forgive. We're not going to walk around with darkness in our heart for the rest of our lives and, have his name written there like a tattoo on our consciousness. So, yeah, you have to forget. At least I feel you have to forgive. Otherwise, it's just a cancer inside you. And I'm not willing to live with that inside me.
I know everybody's been asking you this question, but do you know of any?
What I'm getting at is, why do 4 victims and 4 to 6 redacted others, not BK, have 20 plus bank warrants and warrants for the Labor Department? Well, how do you know that BK is not one of those redacted names on that document? He could be. Are you getting at a drug thing? Is that what you're saying? This is about drugs? Are you saying, are you going to say are you going to say it's a cartel thing? It's drugs and cartel? You know, the way that I might look at it is, you know, why would someone have multiple bank accounts? They're kids. You know, maybe their parents go in and set up bank accounts for them as they go into school. I don't know. Maybe, you know, when I was a kid, I had multiple bank accounts that I would just throw money in and close or forget about. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Connections between Kaylee and any of the
Yeah, I
victims
mean, this
and
too.
this individual?
You know, could be just checking all of the banks to see if they have anything. I mean, you got to look at everything here. They're going to look at financials. They're going to look at phone records. They're going to look at activity, what the hell they were buying, what they were spending, where was the money being passed between anybody, to find that connection between all of these people. So, I mean, I would, if I was anything, I would go around to all the banks in that area in subpoena and ask for accounts. If any of those people had accounts, to trace what went in and out of those bank accounts. Sure. I would look at phone records. I would look at, you know, Cash App transactions and PayPal transactions and door dashing. I would look at everything that had any connection to the outside world with any of these people. I don't find it weird.
To me, I mean, it's like 9-10 miles. I mean, I'd be shocked if these guys did cross each other in grocery stores and just everyday life. So I'm not going to be that surprised that there's going to be some type of thing that comes up in, you know, I've said it, whether it's grocery store or coffee or something. I mean, if he was over there for a year, I'm assuming that he followed them and he may have figured out what their patterns are. And then, you know, he tries to bump into them, or he tries to hang out in those spots and, you know, coordinate, you know, trying to cross in. But I don't know how important they really are at this point. I just know that
there's not many banks in that area, Annie. I mean, if you go back to the Drunk Turkey stream, I think they looked at all the banks in the area. There's not really a lot of banks in that area. There's like 5 or 6 major ones.
It happened, and we may figure it out as the case develops.
So what? But you're saying here's the thing: is you say these things like they're looking for specific. So what is the specific reason? You haven't said that. What do you think the specific reason is? You point out a lot of things, but you don't say the specific reason. I want to hear the specific reason. The chat wants to hear the specific reason. Do you think it's a drug thing? Do you think it's a cartel thing? Do you think it's a OnlyFans thing? Do you think that people were paying each other? It was a paid killing, something paid murder, a murder hit? What do you think it is? Because I've heard you say this a bunch of times, but you don't tell us what you think it is.
Like this, yapping. You
got to let us know.
And I just look at that from, I think, anybody in America. Is
Bubes, yes.
That's the next question, right? Is why them? Like, why would he target these people who he had no ties to? And it just feels like such rage to do that to somebody, to 4 people.
Yeah, and that kind of just tells you who he was, because you know he wasn't tied to everyone in that room. Ethan wasn't supposed to even be there, and you know, from what Ethan went through, you know that this guy just wasn't a man of character. He was just poorly built, and you know, there isn't going to be some kind of connection that I would think that would explain this.
You don't think there's going to be some kind of connection that will explain this?
No, what kind would? I mean, like, my girl's bullying him, or, you know, what kind of behavior could explain somebody being this brutal to another human being? I mean, he was probably obsessed with just their overall looks and their social media accounts and the fact that they were close, you know?
Makes you sick. I mean, it's sickening, I'm sure, to see the information that came out in the affidavit about how he had been by the house multiple times.
If that's going to offend you,
I don't know if you guys knew that early on.
Yeah, and close enough that he he was touching their Wi-Fi. His phone was touching their Wi-Fi.
I'm responding to someone that is, we know that she consistently says this about the bank account, but she's never given us a answer to what she thinks it is. I want to hear what she thinks it is. She brings up multiple accounts. They're looking to, they're tracing the money. I find that weird. Well, what do you find that's weird about it? I want to know. That's all I'm asking.
That is, if you've had a laptop, you walk out in your front yard, you're not going to get too far. So
I don't think I saw that part. Wow. Again, similar to the connection, but motive. I mean, any indication as to, like you said, there's nothing that can explain this, and you can't make sense out of something that doesn't make sense. But any motive that you guys have gleaned?
Okay, then I missed it.
From all of this,
fraud from what though? What's the fraud?
I'd just be guessing, but
fraud from what?
A class that
fraud. What kind of fraud?
Study.
What is
killers?
What is the fraud that a bunch of 19, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids are involved in? What is the fraud?
How they did these things. I think he thought in his little fantasy world that he was going to teach a class where he actually did it. No one had a clue. And then that gave him a sense of superiority. Like, you're getting your grades, graded by somebody who actually has lived this lifestyle. So, but that would just be my guess though.
when things like this happen and suspects are found, I think so often the media attention turns to the suspect, and we don't want to glorify and we don't want to keep plastering his picture. I mean, I don't know how much of the news you've been watching, but
so what are they laundering money from?
What can
you got to give me? You're saying these things like money laundering. Okay, so what are they money laundering? COVID unemployment. You thought that everybody got COVID unemployment. So you think that they wrote up a bunch of fake documents and businesses and they just got loans from the government? Is that where this is going? That they got a bunch of COVID money and they were filtering it through everybody? I don't know. That's a little hard pressed for an 18, 19-year-old kid to think something like that. Yeah. If anything, Crossroads is going to know. They're not money laundering. If anything, I would say it's probably, if you're going to go there, I would say better answer would be like drugs. But I don't even think it would be drugs, because no drug dealer is smart enough to put cash into a bank if it's large amounts of money. So Tsunami says, I think it's just for bank transactions to see if other victims shopped at the same places as the suspects. I would see that as well too. I'm being very nice. But this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get, people are just saying money laundering, but you're not giving, what is the scenario that you see money laundering in? Or what do you think the scenario that all this money is being? It's very gray when you just state that. I'm saying you have to support it with details. I think you're going way huge stretch. I don't think an 18, 19-year-old kid, but we'll keep playing
we
through
do
this.
to better serve the victims and their families to ensure that we're continuing to highlight them? And what message do you have for people that are going to watch this story?
My message is that, I'm here for my daughter and Maddie, but there's two other people that are just as important, and their kids went through just as much, and their losses are just as real. So I think, as a media, you can show those other people that they're just as important and they're in the spotlight as well. And, their parents have chosen to do it more private, and I totally respect that. I'm usually a very private person, but in this case, it was a situation where I felt like I was going to be required to come out and make sure that the story didn't die, and we built some momentum and we got everyone involved that we possibly could. With the media, don't glorify this guy. It's going to be hard, putting his face in his picture. We just don't want to create another breed of these guys. There's
Jim Tan Laundry
videos
GTL.
right now. We know what they are, that glorify these type of people, give them, Hollywood fame, and
right,
concentrate on them. And
I stand more on this
and
theory.
The story's all about them. So I hope the story here is all about these kids and how they did everything wrong. I mean, they did everything right, and somehow this turned out wrong. So we have to look at, like, what do we got to do in society to where we can identify people and make sure that we catch them before we lose such a powerful set of people, or even one person is unreplaceable. So I think society needs to kind of do an audit check on itself and figure out, what our priorities are. And is this going to go away on its own? I don't think so. I think we need to come together and figure out a way to treat people that have these conditions and identify them.
So check this out.
Check it out.
My son was headed off to camp.
Steve, since the affidavit came out too, everybody's been talking about one of the girl's roommates. You can't imagine what a young girl is going through when something like that happens. What is your take on the fact that the guy walked past her and she didn't call 911 for several hours and she'd heard some things? I mean, what's your take on all that?
I know one time in the past that somebody was pretending to break into my house, and Kaylee hid under her bed and called, 911 and was too scared to even talk. And then she called me at work, and I prepared her to jump out that window because I didn't know that it was a practical joke. So I think that's a natural thing for girls to freeze up and lock up and, put themselves in a position of safety. And I don't hold that against them. I've already checked into the, could they have lived? Was it a slow bleed out or something? And it wasn't. So there's one bad guy here that I have to focus on. All those other things will slowly come out. I'm sure they catch other people's attention, but for me, I really have to focus on the individual who is responsible for this. And that is a big enough challenge and obstacle that we have to overcome than to worry about, two girls that, were just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, it's like people are trying to cast blame and question why, and you just can't put yourself in their shoes. Sounds like maybe the girl was traumatized. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood makes it look like a girl will just do some karate move and chop it, knock this, knife out of his hands. In reality, she saved her own life by just being quiet and hiding, and that's a survival instinct. And yeah, I don't want to turn it into. I mean, there's so many people who have had their lives dragged through some mud in this case, and the Jacks and everything. They're innocent, and I think media sometimes forgets to go clear those people up and reach out to them and say, hey, is there anything we can do to help you guys get your lives back on track? Because they've been through a lot, and I've always tried to make sure that we address that and let people know that these people are completely innocent, and they've gotten death threats, and people have treated them bad, and there's somebody out there that can fix that and make that right. So offer them a job, offer them an internship, put them back on track. So college can be an uplifting thing. That's what it should be for.
I guess, are you fairly confident in the fact that law enforcement has the right guy and that they went through the proper steps?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it took forever for me, but I think how many agents do we have? We have like 60 some agents. So if there was ever a dream team to solve a crime and put it together correctly, we got them. So that's why I just sit back and now it's just going to be a slow drag. And hopefully when we go to court, it doesn't.
Because that's what people do. Nika says, maybe I'm naive. I just don't understand why all the conspiracy theories in this case. I have to agree. I don't think, and I've talked about this on previous streams, I don't think there's much gray area here. It's pretty black and white. I chalk it up to maybe some shoddy police work. But I think that I'm pretty confident they have the person that's responsible for this. I think there may be some other players in this as well. I think that we're going to find out a lot of things. Like I said, digital forensics is going to be a huge thing. The evidence in the King Road house that's been collected, 113 items, 4,000 photos. The car still needs to be processed, or the car has been processed. The evidence at his parents' house, the evidence at his apartment. I don't get it either. It's aliens. I know who it is. I can't say that. I'm not going to say that. I'll get myself in trouble. We'll leave that one alone. It's the aliens. They did it.
Show of, this guy and a prosecutor, all this stuff just goes cleanly and it's not turned into.
I think people have to realize that in a multiple murder case, where there's many victims, okay, they're probably going to pull all that type of information to see if there's any connection. Yeah, they're probably seeing, was their money paid in, paid out? Where were they shopping? Where were they going? Were they in the same area at a time of maybe a bar or a restaurant that this suspect was at? I think they're looking at a lot of stuff like that. I don't think it has to do with money passing back and forth and stuff like that. Keep this in mind. Your BFF, if that was the truth, we probably would have heard something by now. It would have slipped out, right?
A drama.
Yeah. I'm sure it's, looking back, hindsight, it's like it was so frustrating during the process of how they were keeping information so close to the vest and not releasing a lot. I mean, I know you guys were more in the know than the public and the media, but I'm sure even you were like begging for answers.
Yeah, and when you have answers and you can't share them, it's really hard too. It's hard on the other side. So, I knew
it's the lizard. Yeah,
Jack
it's the lizard
had
people.
DNA, and I was just so puzzled that they wouldn't come out and clear it. But I'm sure they had strong reason. But I just didn't know at the time, and it was hard for me.
Last question would be just like, how are you guys? I know you said relief. I'm sure you're exhausted. How are you feeling, and what's next?
What's next is as a family, we're gonna come together and figure out the schedule. I'm gonna lean on Shannon for that because he has a lot more experience. It's not even comparable. So, this is what happens when you get the right legal counsel. You can go through this process and you're not alone. You have somebody there that has experience, and then your team has actually got experience. And that's one thing I said at the beginning is we couldn't do this alone. We could.
Listen, I want to let everybody know that I will get fired up sometimes when I might not agree. Hey, it's my channel. I have every right to do that. I might come out a little bit and be a little fired up. I may try to inspire you to kind of battle with me a little bit. That's what this is about. That's what this channel is about. This is what this community is about. It's not condescending. It's not stuff like that. It's that, we're trying to invoke conversation. We're having a friendly back and forth banter. I will do stuff like that every once in a while if I don't agree with you because I'm passionate about this case.
It's too big. You got 4 people.
It's okay to have disagreements.
If another parent, heaven forbid, goes through this, don't try to do it on yourself.
You guys are battling in the chat right now.
If you can find the right people, build a team up, and then you can have a bad day and somebody else can step in your place. And that's what this court will be.
Excuse me.
One day it'll be me, one day it'll be mom, one day it'll be my son, my daughters, not the younger ones. I probably won't let them, even though they'll ask. But I'll work with Shannon and make sure that none of us are exposed to anything that's too gruesome, and we'll go from there.
I'm so sorry for what you went through and are going through. Just know that the nation and the world are really supporting you guys. I know you know that, but I'm
taking
really appreciative
over
of you being willing to share with the media. So thank you so much.
You taking over,
Morgan?
Yeah, take care.
Man, he's taking over. All right. If you want, I can keep going a little bit more. I got a little bit more here. Let me see. Okay, let's play this. And now we're just Kohberger had court.
Kaylee Gonsalves' family, who's one of the victims.
This is why she wasn't losing weight.
That's why she wasn't losing weight.
Every day,
She worked out every day.
Kaylee Gonsalves' family, who's one of the victims, was in the courtroom after that hearing. The family's attorney gave a short statement. Take a listen.
It's obviously an emotional time for the family, seeing the defendant for the first time. This is the beginning of the criminal justice system, and the family will be here for the long haul. And that's the statement for the media today. Thank you.
Records show that law enforcement was watching Bryan Kohberger very early on, as they were publicly saying they did not have a suspect or person of interest. They were keeping a lot of information close to the vest. But I think that's something that we learned today, was that they really had their sights on him just 2 weeks after the murders. I want to walk you through what we learned through the probable cause affidavit. We learned that Xana and Ethan were found stabbed to death on the second floor of the home, while Maddie and Kaylee were found stabbed to death on the third floor of the home in the same bed together. Officers noticed a tan leather knife sheath on the bed next to Maddie. That's a cover for the blade of a knife. The Idaho State Lab found a single source of male DNA on the button of that sheath, which they called the suspect profile. They then compared that DNA to trash that they took from the Kohberger family home in Pennsylvania on December 27th, as the suspect is from Pennsylvania originally. That DNA matched the DNA of the suspect's father almost 100%. 2 surviving roommates told investigators everyone was home by 2 a.m. and in their rooms by 4 a.m. the morning of the murders, which is November 13th. One roommate says she was woken up around 4 a.m. by noise on the third floor above her. She said it sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog, because the dog was home at the time. The dog was also heard barking several times on security footage around the time of the murders. That surviving roommate said she heard one of her roommates say, quote, "There's someone here." The roommate says she opened her door when she heard crying coming from Xana's.
I still don't get this. You hear all this so loud that a next door neighbor's security camera picks up the audio, and you can only imagine how loud it was inside that house, and you don't call 911. I have a huge problem.
Room, Xana Kernodle, one of the victims, and a man say, quote, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." That roommate says she opened her door again.
Okay, I'm going
And this
to
is
kill
really
you.
harrowing. She saw a person in black
Harrowing.
wearing a mask covering their mouth and nose. She described him as tall with an athletic build and bushy eyebrows.
And you still don't call 911 after you see this person that you've never seen before in your house. Okay.
She says he walked past her and she stood in a frozen shock phase.
Yeah.
The suspect then walked to the back sliding door. Investigators now
Right.
believe this homicides happened between 4 and 4:25 a.m. We want to point out, as we've been reporting early on, that 911 call was made from one of the roommates' phones inside the home around noon, so several hours later. Surveillance video from the area showed a white Hyundai Elantra seen near the crime scene multiple times around the time of the murders. And then on November 29th, Washington State University police learned Bryan Kohberger owned a white Hyundai Elantra. The physical description from his driver's license matched the one that the roommate gave. He's a PhD student in criminology at Wazoo. While his phone didn't ping towers near the King Road house, because investigators believe he turned it off, it did ping on the way back to Moscow in Pullman after the murders. His phone records also match the movement of that Elantra. Officers say he later learned through cell phone records from June to December that Kohberger had been by that King Road home at least 12 times leading up to the murders.
Why?
And it was in the early morning hours
Why
or the
was he
late
there?
evening hours. I want to bring in Alexandra Duggan now, who was inside the courtroom during Kohberger's initial appearance. Alex, what was his body language like earlier?
Morgan, it was somewhat tense, but he showed little emotion when he walked into the courtroom in an orange jumpsuit. He walked in, he didn't look at any of the families that were sitting in the front row, the Gonsalves family. He walked in, sat at the chair next to his attorney, and the judge read off the charges against him. His jaw tensed up a little bit when she mentioned the names
That's
of
a
the
good one.
victims, but that's all I've noticed. And really, she described the crimes as being malicious and premeditated. Again, he was charged with 4 counts of murder. We were sitting in the courtroom with multiple other national media outlets. Many people were in the courtroom. The courtroom was completely stacked. Families in the front row waiting to see Kohberger in person for the first time. And his attorney also said that he has a good family that stands behind him throughout this case.
Interesting. Okay. And I know you had to arrive at the courthouse very early this morning, so we appreciate your work. She had to wait in line earlier. Again, that probable cause affidavit showing no connections, not that there weren't any, but we just don't know how and if Kohberger was connected to any of the victims in this just horrific attack off the campus of the University of Idaho. Back to you guys.
All right. We've got 2 more videos here. Then we're going to wrap this puppy up. We have Kaylee's sister speaking out as well. Let's hear that.
For being with us tonight, Olivia. You know, I remember from when we first started communicating, when all
Sean here made over $12,000 last month by simply following a super simple, never before seen Amazon strategy.
all of this began, you told me that you believed that this was going to be a stranger who came into the house. And according to the police, you know, you were right the way that all of this played out. But what did you think when you first learned that Bryan Kohberger was the suspect?
I think we always presume, you know, innocence. I don't think it really hit me until the affidavit was released, and I was able to kind of read that and process that. And then you not only have a name and a face, but, you know, the beginnings of a case against him.
You have been working so hard behind the scenes, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, because in many ways your dad has sort of been the face of the family. But since the beginning, you've been digging into this and trying to find leads and sending things to the police. And you told me that, you know, you didn't feel like you would be able to really grieve until there was an arrest made. Do you feel like now you're able to do that?
I think my family as well as myself are starting to get there. And it's kind of an odd time to do that, being that we still have such a long road ahead of us. But the relief that we all felt having a suspect in custody was, it was like, I can't even describe it. Like the weight of the world was lifted from our shoulders.
The court process now, though, I mean, that's, you know, your dad has told me that can be overwhelming to think about, the fact that you guys are going to have to be in court. Do you plan to be at the hearings?
Yeah, every single one.
One thing back to the affidavit that I think a lot of people were surprised by was the fact that one of the roommates was awake when the killer walked by, and that the 911 call wasn't made until hours and hours later. Do you know any more about why that might be?
I don't have any other information for that. I do know Dylan is really young, and she was probably really, really scared. And until we have any more information, I think everyone should stop passing judgments, because you don't know what you would do in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's people online, obviously, it's totally inappropriate at this point. And you're right. No one knows how they would handle a situation like that or what was really happening. I mean, we only know what's in the probable cause so far. Is there anything you've learned that connects Kohberger to any of the victims here? Last I talked to your dad, he said the family was looking for connections, but there wasn't anything really apparent at this point.
Yeah, I think we're still going to keep looking. I've had a lot of people reach out with, you know, Instagram posts or even a Spotify, or lots of connections that they've been able to find. And those are super valuable. All of those go over to, you know, the Moscow Police Department, as well as the Idaho State Police and the FBI, because nothing is insignificant at this point, and everything is being looked through.
There's this feeling that many have shared that perhaps Kohberger was watching the interviews, was in the Facebook groups, was on Twitter. Do you get a sense that that might be the case, that he was almost watching all of this as it played out?
I do. A lot of that comes from the fact that he had visited the home so many times before, late at night, early hours. He's presented this pattern of behavior. He went back to the home the morning of, before police had been called, I think to see if his circus, so to say, had started to unfold. And I think that he would not have been able to refrain from engaging with the online communities, the theories, the conspiracies, and everything in between.
How did you first find out, Olivia, that there was an arrest?
My mom actually told me. I had been staying at her house. Me and my husband were upstairs, and she came up the stairs. It was probably around 11 o'clock at night, the day before the arrest had been made. At the time, we didn't know what state, and we didn't even have a name. We just knew that a suspect was in custody.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.
All right, we got one more, and then we're going to wrap this one up. I have something to share about cell phone data. I'm just waiting to get permission from the person that emailed me about it to read it on air. I just want to make sure that they approve it. Obviously, I'm going to protect who that person is, and any of the people that they may have talked about that. Of course, I would not say that on air as well. I would kind of tailor it around that, but I'm just waiting. So Okay, we got one more here. I want to just finish with Kayla Gonsalves' father grieving the loss of his daughter at the vigil. Let's play this out.
When I need something
Really?
from our supply chain team, Slack. When I need something from our market.
Just so I can let everybody know, the main reason I'm up here today is so that everybody can understand what we lost. I hope to be able to make you laugh, but I'm afraid we're going to have to cry because we lost 4 beautiful souls. And the 2 that I'm up here to talk about.
We're going to
are
get
the ones
into
I
it.
knew.
I just have to get clearance
start-
from the person. I already told you what it was about. It's about cell phone data. It's about pings. I'm waiting to get permission from that person to be able to talk about it. I have to be respectful to them because it was a private conversation between me and them. But if I can share that information, I will. So that's what that is about. So just look forward to that. But I have to, out of respect for this person that emailed me, because it's a private conversation, I have to get permission from them to say, hey, is it okay if I read some of this on air? I think it's very interesting and it could give a lot of feedback to what's going on in this case. So let's, yeah, of course, let's just be respectful of that person. I don't want to break trust with them. And I want to make sure that they give me the okay to, to read it. So let's play through and finish
started
this
thinking
one up.
about how I was going to tell these people what their souls were like and the things that they shared with me. I started thinking that this is going to be really tough. So I did what you guys do. I Googled it. I went in and I looked for the most beautiful things in the world. I looked for some kind of inspiration. I knew I should have took creative writing a lot more serious because I was in trouble. But I came up with the 7 wonders of the world, and I seen them and I looked at them for inspiration. And I prayed to my girls and I said, you're gonna have to help me here. I'm struggling. And they just came to me and they told me there should be another wonder in the world. I said, all right, help me here. And they said, it's the wonder of the relationship of a father and his daughter. I said, all right, that is pretty wonderful. You start wondering the minute they put that baby in your hand, you wonder what you're going to do. And you wonder how you're going to feed them and how you're going to take care of them. And then you wonder why your wife's yelling at you because you're feeding your baby a hamburger. It's like, and then you wonder, how am I going to understand and make this the best opportunity for both of us? And you start seeing the world through the girl's eyes. And as a father, it's a little bit scary. You start seeing like the world starts having like this purple haze, and there's puppies and there's kitties and there's all these weird movies you have to watch, and they start crying all the time. But you start falling in love with this world that they built. You see this world and it changes, and you don't have pickup trucks and all these footballs. You start seeing the beauty of what they have and what makes them special.
I'm cranky because it's tired. I'm tired. This 3-hour banger. It's long. You guys have been sitting for 3 hours. I appreciate it.
So when I was
think we're all tired.
trying to see this world and I was trying to picture what my daughter would want me to say, she would want to say that she loved designer purses and brand new shoes and all these things. So that's the world as I see it now, and I never want to see it any other way. And yeah, one of the things is my girls, they gave me a sense like, don't go up there and embarrass us. And I was like, really? All right. And they're like, you just can't be a Chad dad. Chad dad. But I do think I probably do need to talk to a manager in here for these lighting conditions, because it's It's not working. So I'm going to embarrass her a little bit, but I want everyone to know these girls were absolutely beautiful. They've been friends since 6th grade. We both put them in a charter academy. They felt like they were being punished. 6th grade, they just found each other, and every day they did homework together. They came to our house together. They shared everything. They convinced us, they made a proposal to go to high school, to a regular high school. So then they went to high schools together. Then they started looking at colleges. They came here together. They eventually get into the same apartment together. And in the end, they died together in the same room, in the same bed. And it's a shame and it hurts. But the beauty of the two always being together is something that it comforts us. It lets us know that they were with their best friends in the whole world. And it's like a book. It's like some kind of terrible chapter, but there's beauty in it. And we're going to get our justice. We're going to figure this stuff out. This community deserves that. And when I look at all you guys, there's only one way for this to get a little better, to heal a little bit. There's pain everywhere. You're just going to have to love each other. You guys are just going to have to hug each other.
Mandy just put the biggest bow on this live stream. This case brings out passion. 1,000%. This case brings out a lot of passion. We are extremely passionate people, and we are extremely connected to this case, and everybody has their own theories and their opinions. And we get emotional if something doesn't line up with our specific view. And it's not by purpose. It's not with malice. Annie knows that her and I have gone back and forth a bunch of times. I respect her. She respects me. We respect everybody here. Not everybody's going to have the same opinion, but that's why we do this, to share our opinions, to bounce the ideas off one another, to maybe see or hear something we haven't seen before. We all love and respect everybody in this community, in these chats. There's no ill will. But that's the comment of the night right there. It brings out passion. We care about these individuals. We care about these families, what's going through. We want to see the person that committed this behind bars. It will happen. Lisa says, I need to know what this is all about. I'm passionate about it too. They all deserve justice. Absolutely. Yes, 4 young lives, so much mystery, so many unanswered questions. All right, let's give Steve the respect here to finish up, and then we'll wrap up the stream.
You're going to have to be a little awkward, and you're just going to have to share. And the only cure to pain is love. It's the only thing that's going to heal us. That's the only thing that's going to heal you. So all I challenge you in the next week, the next days, is just go out of your way and tell someone you love them. Love the people in your room that you go back to, your apartments, your house. And that will make a difference. And that's something that they can see where they're at right now. That you changed your life just a little bit and you're a little bit nicer and a little bit kinder. Thank you.
All right. I think Steve said it best. Love the people around you. Tell them that you love them. I love all of you guys here. You're my idiots. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you. So, with that being said, I think this is going to end part 3 Part 4 will be on Thursday night. And what I'm going to do on part 4 is I want to take a look back and see how the media was reporting this. That is the reminder. Make sure you go and hit the remind button on that stream. If you are a paid member, all my little green, it looks like little green S's to me, but all those little stars, if you are a paid member, go to my community page. It's on the home page tab. Click that community. And if you want, you can join us in the Discord server. It's for paid members only. You will see the post. I updated it this evening. You can get in there. I want to appreciate everybody. No, come on, Annie. I want to appreciate everybody for hanging through this 3-hour banger. It was a very long stream tonight. Another long one, another great one to go back and look forward. I am looking forward to Thursday night for the review of how the media has been reporting this up until present day. And we'll keep this theme going. I have some more digging around to do. You all know how to get in touch with me. You can email me at theopinionatedidiot@gmail.com. Facebook, you can connect in the Discord server. Also, I stream. If this is your first time over here on the channel, I stream 3 nights a week. You can see it down there below. Live show every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if I don't make one of those times, I will make it up to you some way, somehow. Before you all go, I would really enjoy if you can go back and watch the stream that I did earlier today. I think it's going to speak to a lot of how we all feel about passion. I dropped the link there in the chat. Put it in your queue if you can't watch it right now. It's only a 30-minute live stream. I did it earlier this afternoon. Leave your comments, how you feel about what I talked about in that stream on that video. I would appreciate it. I see all your thank yous. I see all your excellent streams. Thank you for being such a great, loyal fan base. And someone was asking me about when I get to 5,000, will I shave my beard off? Wow, that's going to be a long time. I don't know. Maybe we'll work something out for charity. Maybe if I can get enough donations one night or something, we'll do something. I don't know. We'll come up with something, but it's not going anywhere right now. Let's get to 5,000. Let's get to 5,000. We're at 3,380. This channel's growing. Every night consistently we've been getting 100 people, and that's what I said from the start. I wanted 100 people in here watching. But let's see. Let's just do another quick. Let's see if we gain anybody else while I'm airing out all this. Oh, we got another one. 38. Let's add a 1, and then we'll wrap this puppy up. I'm feeling we're going to get to 3,400 by Thursday. You think we can get to 34? 3,400 would be nice. $5,000 would be nice. $5,000 would be nice. But I'm loving the slow build because people are watching the live show, and that's what I wanted. I wanted this to grow. I didn't want to go, yeah, maybe at 10,000 we'll shave it. That would be the end of the year. Maybe we'll shave it. Yeah, you lots of love, guys who can't grow a beard. Yeah, I'm not doing my live stream in my boxers. You should shave and braid it like a Viking instead of you should braid it like a Viking instead of shaving it. I don't know. We'll come up with something. But you guys are funny. I'll give you a couple sound bites before I go. Steven. Let's all lean back. Let's all relax. And I will see you all on Thursday. What a live. Look at this. The channel's growing like crazy. Remember when I was only at like just below 2,000? Shit, it was just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, at 100,000 shave your back. I have to shave my back anyway, so you want me to do the fake news one? Which one? This one.
You are fake news. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
Come on, man.
How dare you?
Let's get them all in.
Liar. Liar. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. Good seeing everybody. Be well, be safe. I'll see you back on Thursday evening. What a banger tonight. Such a great show. Bye, guys.